It was stuck.
Hold on, Edward. We're gonna let the chat build up a little bit. Glad you can make it.
It was stuck. You caught me at the right time.
We're gonna let the chat build up a little bit.
Yeah, you know, you gotta mute the chat box. Actually, put the link in the put the link to the video. Let me see. Actually, find your shit myself. That way I can actually I was just working on creating this group that I keep saying I'm gonna create.
I think I put the video link on your Google Hangouts too for the actual YouTube feed.
Yeah, I'm about to share it now.
Let me see if I did. Did I send you the actual link?
No, I got the Hangout link. I was gonna do for the video, the YouTube link.
Oh yeah, I see the YouTube link. No, cause see, you got two Google Hangouts. You know that, right?
Yeah, I got multiple Google Hangouts because it's all tied to Gmail.
Yeah,
so it just depends on, you know, if I want to troll. That Simon Phoenix is my troll. That's how you know I'm about to start talking shit and be reckless. Not really, but that's how I see it. Versus Black Source Codes is see.
Okay, I'm about to put the link in the actual chat right now, so you have it.
No, I have it.
Oh, you got it. Okay, got it. Good.
Yeah, I'm about to create a picture on Canva real quick and start sharing it. Let's see, Facebook post.
Peace to everybody in the chat. Thank everybody for joining us. Let me give some shout outs real quick to the people that showed up already. We got Bentley 3805 in the building. Moses Jenkins. I didn't have your Google Hangouts. Let me know if you want to get into the actual Hangout. Yeah, because we wanted to hear your perspective on the Kamala Harris too the other day, but I think you were busy. But at any rate, let me know. T-Mec with Miss Les. T-Mec, is this a different avatar? I don't remember seeing this avatar before. Gab Talk. I sent you a message on Google Hangouts. Did you get it? Gab Talk Media.
Yeah, niggas left me high and dry. My time to do the Hangout, ain't nobody to be found. Fuck everybody. No.
Little Rock 2517. What's good? Edward, you want to go ahead and shout out your channel while you're here so we can make sure everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody's already subscribed to your channel.
Yeah, I need to fucking make a domain name and stop bullshitting. Anyway, just type in Edward Anderson in YouTube. Look for the Black and White Morpheus that'll come up where we talk shit. You know, also another thing I wanted to shout out is be looking for this. But I'm actually I'm gonna create a Facebook group during this channel, so I'll probably put that link in there. I want folks to subscribe because this is gonna be like a continuing conversation from the comment section. So it's gonna be stuff where people can upload stuff, share stuff. I don't want to get too crazy, because stuff I ain't gonna make stuff admin approved at first, but it'll eventually get that way. But it'll be like, for, you know, just a lot of different stuff. You know, Facebook has a little bit more functionality, YouTube as far as pictures and stuff. So it'll allow people to kind of keep involved, keep engaged, and that's gonna be something that's not just for me. I'm gonna make sure Super Triz and Yes Jonas's stuff is in there, so we can make sure we're just watching this, you know, this audience. So y'all, it's kind of like more of a network. So keep that in mind. I'm working on that. I'll have it built right now. Just been putting the picture stuff together.
Appreciate it, Edward. Dr. Ford, thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you. King Hebrew is in the building. Respect to you, sir. Michael, I'm not really asking the question. I'm presenting a question that was asked of me. This question has been asked of me. I believe it's been asked of Edward Anderson. I believe it's been asked of several men within the quote unquote Black manosphere. So the reason why I'm presenting this question and making this stream is to really address this, once and for all, because this is something that's been brought up on multiple occasions. And I'm not sure what the exact intent of the question. I don't know if there's actual general inquiry, a genuine inquiry, or if this is just a question that's meant to devalue a particular demographic of men and subjugate them, so to speak. So this is the reason why I'm bringing this particular topic to the light.
Probably a little bit of both.
A little bit of both, you think? Okay.
It depends on who's asking it, because it's one of these questions where this is the answer I always give with that question. So even if I say yes, Black men are dominated, my next question is, if it's let's say if it's a female, you'd be like, you must be a stupid bitch if that's who you fucking the dominated people that you can't get away from. What does that say about you? I always spin it back. Like, what does that say about you? Like, what does it say about you that you could probably get an Asian, or you could damn Asians? Let's not stretch it. Let's talk about, like, you could get like a Nigerian or a high performance like African in the United States, but because, and I know why, at the end of the day, because he doesn't have swag, that's not what you want. And ultimately, and I won't go too deep into it, ultimately, I'll ask this question. And this is for the females who would ask these little dumbass talk shit questions. I won't sell your channel with what I would say. But these are Cynthia G questions. This is what I will ask. If you could choose between security or if you could choose between security and you were bored out of your life, or you were never secure, but you basically were never bored, which one would you choose? We already know what most black women would choose, because they choose it every day with every nigga they fuck. Anyway,
that's a very good point. Again, the actual individual asking, they have their own motivations for asking that question, and I guess that really depends. But here's my take on the situation, and I'll try to be as brief as I possibly can. But I do want to illuminate some points. When we talk about domination, right? And before we even get into that, I want to make sure we actually define what it is to dominate. And the reason why is because I believe words have meanings. They have significance. And I think that oftentimes here in the US, and perhaps to a certain degree abroad, words are devalued by haphazard usage. Words are taken out of context intentionally sometimes. Words are attributed to particular definitions that don't necessarily apply. It's a slang variation of the word in some instances. So I want to make sure that we actually dominate this. Define this word correctly, the word being dominate. So I'm looking on dictionary.com, and dominate, and we'll just use the word dominate, to rule over, govern, control. I want y'all to pay close attention to that. Let me read that one more time. To rule over, govern, and control. To tower above, overlook, overshadow. A tall pine dominated the landscape. To predominate, permeate, or characterize. That sounds a lot like indoctrination. Mathematics, we'll skip that definition. Well, we'll just read it. To have terms or components greater in absolute value than the corresponding terms or components of a given series, vector, etc. Number 5, linguistics. Of a node in a tree diagram to be connected with a subordinate node, either directly by a single downward branch or indirectly by a sequence of downward branches. Bear with me. I know you guys don't like hearing people read, but I just want to make sure we get this definition down pat. Number 6, to rule, exercise control, or predominate. Number 7, to occupy a commanding or elevated position. Okay, I just read to you directly from dictionary.com. This is not my own definition. This was read verbatim from dictionary.com. So we have here the word dominate now defined. So let's dig into it. When we talk about a particular demographic or any demographic of men, and I like to refer back to just history. When we look back over history, since the advent of civilization as we know it, collective individuals working together towards common goals, there has been domination in any civilization. This is the essence of a civilization. You acquiesce to someone in a leadership position because their goals and objectives align with yours. You work together with members in your community towards a common goal. What makes this efficient is that a clear leader is defined. So that way we work as a collective. This is how it goes in any society, any business, teams, sports. There's a leader, coach, quarterback. There's a command structure. There are individuals whose job it is to plan and provision for the future. Then there's individuals whose job it is to execute. This is how things are efficient. This is what differentiates an actual society from our predecessors, which were hunter-gatherers. Because there was a time when human beings were hunter-gatherers. They were nomadic. They moved from place to place, depending on the weather patterns, depending on food sources, depending on water. Various environmental factors influence movement and behavioral patterns of our predecessors in ancient times. Each individual had multiple tasks. You didn't just fish, you hunted too. You were a carpenter. You were an architect. You didn't just rear children. You foraged for food. You were a housekeeper. You were a teacher. Nowadays, we have individuals who have specific specialized tasks because it's more efficient that way. If you find one task and you perfect it and you become an expert at that task through repetition, through study, but you can only be an expert at that one task. You can only devote that amount of time to that task if there's other individuals addressing other tasks so that you can focus on your particular task or your particular area of specialization. How is that coordinated? With the leader. With the leader. You have somebody who basically decides what direction a particular group of individuals is going in. You may have some subordinates that assist with dissemination of information, but there is a clear command structure. This is what lends efficiency to any organization or collection of people. So when we look at society today, various countries throughout the world, similar pyramids in structure. You have somebody at the top. You have individuals under that person, individuals under that person. Then you have people who just execute. Some people like to just execute. Sometimes it's easier that way. Sometimes it's easier just to be accountable for yourself and not be accountable to other people. This is what we have nowadays. We have people who have a lot. We have people who have little. This is not just a Black issue. This is not just a white issue. This is not just an Asian, a Latino. This is not just an East Indian issue. This is something that transcends cultural boundaries. Most people worldwide are living in poverty. The amount of people who are actually wealthy, the amount of people who actually own things, very, very small amount of people. The wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few. So when we look at the composition of the United States, most people in the United States are not of the ownership class. Most people have to work for a living. Most people, if they lost their job today, would be on the streets tomorrow. This characterizes most people, not most Black people, most people. What do you think about what I've said so far, Edward Anderson? But before we go to that, let me just say, because it looked like we got some super chat donations. I want to make sure that we show some respect to individuals that have donated via super chat. Let me take a peek here because I do want to make sure that we address, and again, I do thank everybody who has super chatted. We have a super chat by Dr. Ford, $25 super chat. Dr. Ford, based in Arkansas. Great topic. Mad respect, Super Triers panel and chat. Thank you so much for the super chat donation, the super chat donation of $25. I really do appreciate that. For those of you who don't know, my super chat, I guess, is now activated. Dr. Ford has given me the first super chat donation. Greatly appreciate it. Now, passing to you, Edward Anderson. I know I've said a lot, but I would love to hear your take on what I've said thus far.
Yeah, I mean, excellent context, and context is everything. You know, that's the problem when we have a lot of these conversations. You know, I get that if you have multiple people on a panel and stuff like that, you can only go so deep because you gotta try to soundbite it out. And I get that there's a balance to everything, but you gave a good context, you gave a good foundation. A lot of times when this is talked about, as far as a question of are Black men dominated, are Black men in America dominated, it's always said is this kind of, well, it's designed to try to devalue Black men. That's what it's designed to do. Now, if you were to talk about, like, if I were to like remix that and say, are women that are sexually abused dominated? Then all of a sudden I'm all sorts of asshole, inconsistent, misogynist, bastard, you know, insincere, insensitive, basically any word that anybody can throw at me, they're gonna throw at me, right? But at the same time, you know, we can talk about, oh, well, are Black men dominated? Now that's one way you can go about it. Another way you can go about it, as in asking the question, because certain questions have to be asked, because if you can't admit things to yourself, then you can never course correct. And this is a part of when you hear Black men, and I was one of the first ones to really say to other BGS, really take the matriarchy thing and really, really talk about it. Even today, most Black men in this YouTube space are not talking about the matriarchy. Not really. Not like they should. And that is like a core point. So what's my point to the dominated piece? Hey, you have to, it doesn't feel good to say, as Black men, you're in a matriarchy. Because what that does is, the next question is, are you dominated by your women? And to a certain extent, I'd say yes. Black men as a group are dominated by their women. Now, we're dominated by the women really at our own choice. And that's what makes it really bad. That's what makes it really, really bad. They don't dominate us because they're smarter than us. They don't dominate us because they're more powerful than us. The only reason why they dominate us is because Black men have been conditioned to view pussy as more valuable than manhood. That's really you and that happens at a very young age. You erase that root code away from Black men, Black women will have nothing else. And I'll say this to prove it. What Super Triz. Well, I'll answer the question. I don't even ask you to put you on the spot. What is it that black women can really offer in black women today? What is in America today? What is it that black women can offer black men that other races can't offer, other than continuing your lineage? And I'm talking about if you're not going to go overseas, other than continuing your lineage as an African American, which I do value. What is it that black women, like pound for pound, can offer that other women can't offer?
Now you're asking me that, or
No,
is that
I'm more asking the audience that like,
okay?
and for anybody that listens to this. Now, two things are gonna happen when I ask that. Motherfuckers are gonna get in their feelings, and they're gonna start their mind's gonna automatically just start going to well this, we're trying to spin it. They will do everything they can to avoid that homing missile question. Because if you actually make compare and contrast, if you actually ask women to do that, they can't do it because they don't feel like they can do it. This is why they focus so much on shaming men and what we do and not really worrying about being the best option, not just for black men, but for any man, because they don't believe they can. So when we talk about going all the way back to this, I understand what that question is when most people ask it when it comes back to domination. They're asking it to try to belittle black men and say black men don't need to lead and black women or women are smarter than men. This also comes from white men when they believe, but to try to make up for the facts that black men are physically more dominant. If it wasn't for the gun, white men, we wouldn't have white supremacy. If it wasn't for white people got the gun first, and they got the gun first because they got it from the Chinese. When it comes to Chinese, even technically the Chinese had the fundamentals for the gun first. They were just using it for fireworks. So if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have all of this. So, and I'll say this too, and then I'll pass the mic. Most white, because it's always asked to dominate society. Most other races will not fight a black man one-on-one without an obvious advantage. They will either have overwhelming force. You even see this with the police. A police officer will have a gun and still have to shoot first, knowing a black man doesn't have a gun. Most police officers really don't got. You notice that most police officers don't really shoot motherfuckers that got guns. It's always somebody that's like, it's kind of obvious they were unarmed. Not even that they were unarmed. It would be surprising if they were armed. They won't. You don't see them really shooting up gangbangers and shit like that. They are more likely to be armed. Or what you see is they have this overwhelming force where it's not just 2 or 3, because I get that. That's back up people trying to look like they're doing. It'd be like 9 or 10 of them. You see a lot of white men do this with black women. So if you really believed that you were superior than someone, you would not do that. Also, what I would ask the question as far as dominance, look at any sport and that we choose to play. The reality of the situation is what the world has had to do is the world has had to terraform the planet to not, allow the people that can reach the highest potential be at the top, but a certain group in order for them to maintain power. And you see this even in the United States, you see this. When you look at sports that white people play versus sports that black men play, it's always a lot more control over the sports that black people dominate versus the sports that white people tend to play, as far as controlling aggression. You don't do that. You don't need to change the rules if you fundamentally be you're better. So at the end of the day, the biggest reason why you see a quote unquote domination of black men is because black men really choose to be dominated. You see it with our women. If we really wanted to turn this into an absolute patriarchy, we could do it in a week. Like, what would if black men really decided that if our women decided to say anything smart to us, they're gonna get physical discipline, and we were cool with going to jail for it, our women would not talk the shit they talk. If they really knew they had something coming, they wouldn't. And I've seen it. I've seen how women instantly switch up when they actually suspect the dude really might hit them, or the women that actually get real crazy about it once they got that first smack. They change instantly. Even the most hardened females do. And you see it when shit really breaks down. Women talk the most shit, the ones that fall back the quickest when shit, even as a group, starts going off. If you are in the club and gunshots start acting, you don't see women be like, yeah, man, I'm pulling out my gun. They start running like most other people. So anyway, I just wanted to address that because I've heard that question, and I know it depends on where it's coming from in the context, but 90% of the time it's to try to belittle men. It's try to say, it's a swirling context. It's like a Cynthia G context. You're a beta man, and that's why you're dominated, and that's why I am where I am. Because you're weak. So anyway, yeah.
And I think those are all very, very interesting points, especially when you consider, other groups. They do have dynamics, obviously, with the opposite sex from their own particular groups. I think that African American men have a unique experience or a unique dynamic with the women from their group. For the most part, there are some exceptions. There are some exceptional women. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of exceptional women in the chat now. Naima Buckner, Neon Eyes. We got Dr. Ford, of course, just to name a few. But when I think about a group of men being dominated, and let's think outside the box here and kind of picture America and America as what is often purported to be an actual melting pot, a collective of people who obviously they don't disregard their particular ethnicities, but this is the objective to everybody working on one accord. Let's compare this to another country, right? If you go to another country, let's just say a homogenous country like North Korea. 99% of the people in North Korea are dominated by a supreme leader. You guys in the chat can chime in on this. Go to another homogenous country. Japan. 99% of the people are dominated by a class of wealthy individuals. Wealthy in comparison to the average annual income, obviously. So that would, in essence, imply that most people in Japan are dominated. When we remove color, most people in the United States are dominated, if you want to use that particular definition of the word. Most people live paycheck to paycheck here in the US. That makes them dominated. Everybody can't be a leader. When we look at people who aren't dominated, let me just look at, because there are a few people on the planet who aren't dominated. North Sentinel Island, an entire island of individuals who aren't dominated, so to speak. They live a very isolated life. They shun outsiders. Now, the actual dynamics that occur amongst those people of that island, much of it is unknown. We've only got glimpses of them. Most of them actually shy away from cameras. We were only able to coax them out to the cameras by offering them food. And even then, they took the food reluctantly. But those people from that island have led an isolated life for many millennia. Because of their limited interaction with outsiders, there is an arrested development, so to speak, of technology for those people. Obviously, there are benefits to living a more simplistic life. I definitely can attest to that. But their independence, their lack of domination comes at a cost because they're basically at the mercy of everyone around them. The neighboring country of India, or any country in Southeast Asia, wanted to invade North Sentinel Island. Probably be a massacre. Probably wouldn't take that many troops. It probably would take a small team of highly trained individuals could decimate the entire island. 10 people with superior technology. Drop off one person who's sick, perhaps a disease process or a bacterial pathogen that their bodies are unfamiliar with. Wipe out the entire island just like that. So when you ask about domination, what does it mean to not be dominated? For anybody who doesn't want to be dominated, you have the option. Go live on a deserted island. You won't be dominated. Forego all the creature comforts you enjoy by living in a society where everybody contributes to a certain degree to that society. Even individuals who don't work in society, who get handouts, who get welfare, they contribute to the society to a certain extent by being consumers. They keep the economy going. And this is why you're able to enjoy internet, Facebook, YouTube, because of a collective of individuals who work together under leadership. Under leadership. Society of individuals doesn't work. There has to be some collectivism. There has to be a leader or a collection of leaders. There has to be some sort of dominance. Now, there are plenty of Black men in America who refuse to be dominated. There are plenty of Black men in America who've raged against the machine. There are plenty of Black men in America who refused to bend the knee. I bet Edward Anderson knows where those Black men are at. I wonder if anybody in the chat knows where those.
No, my bad. I missed my just like a nigga. I missed my cue. No, I had it's like I just had this on mute so you could go in. I mean, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day,
where are those Black men in America, Edward Anderson, who refuse to be dominated? Tell me where they're at. Do you know?
I mean, they broke. I mean, you know, I would probably look at it. I mean, I see it the same way you see it. But a lot of times, you know how it is in the Black community, we don't use our words. We like to make things mean everything. And there's a difference. Like when you look at, I'll give you an example. Like, let's take the mafia for example. If you look at the mafia or even the Black Panthers, if you want to keep it Black, yeah, there's a hierarchy structure, but it's kind of like, okay, if you say, you know what, let me say it within the context that you said it, the ownership class. So let's talk about the aristocracy, or in the United States, the plutocracy. All plutarchs are not created equal. But if they're in the top 1%, and just to be in the top 1%, you basically got to make like $1 million a year. If you generate a revenue of $1 million a year, you're kind of it's like you're almost in the in the top 1%. If you're in that class, like you said, people that don't work, people investment, stuff like that, whatever, if you're in that group, then it at that point it's like relative. Because if you look at somebody like Donald Trump is a president of the United States, as well as he's worth like, let's say $2 billion. Let's say $2 billion. So he's actually a low-level billionaire. He's not Michael Bloomberg, who's with $44 billion. He's damn sure not Bezos, but he has the presidency. But even with the presidency, you know, as far as his individual power, because, you know, he has to leverage it to a certain extent, you know, it is relative at that point. And you can even look at that when you're looking at like a lot of folks that are even in the top 10%. So when people talk about, again, when women, and I say the reason why I keep on going back to the women is not because I just need to beat up the women. It's because I was actually listening to somebody, and she was talking about like black men that are weak. She was talking about weave, and she was talking about how, like, you know, dudes that, you know, they say that, you know, the reason I don't date black women is because they wear weave. You know, that's bullshit, and you're weak. And I said I agree that they need to own why if they don't want their sisters, they need to own that and then say what it really is, because it ain't really weave. That's not like the maker or breaker of it. But what I will say is women got to get out of this thing of calling men weak. Like, if I were to calling a black man weak is equivalent to me basically coming at you and saying you're nothing because you're dark skinned. It's the same shit. It doesn't have the same impact as black men are used to it, but women have to stop saying that, oh, you're weak, but the nigga you fucking is economically destitute. Like, he can dominate you sexually, but when it comes to protecting you economically, he doesn't have that ability. But you cool with that because you've been raised in a matriarchal culture that you need to do it for yourself. So when I hear this term dominate in the black community, it's always used in context of calling a man weak. It's emasculation. So me trying to remix, I really appreciate, you know, you trying to explain it. But at the end of the day, I like to break things down to black folks really simple. The only thing that matters is what you can do and what you can't do, and what you will do and what you won't do. And the reality is, the only reason why we're in the infrastructure that we're in now in the black community is because black men have chosen to kind of allow our women to do it for guilt, for whatever reason. And most of the bitching and moaning you actually hear when that leads to this thing about, are you dominated? Even if I were to say, go like what you said, yes, I'm dominated. So what does that make you? What are you gonna do? I got a question. If I'm so dominated, why the fuck are you asking me for protection? If I'm so dominated, why are you asking me to provide? I'm dominated. You're pretty much, that's like me asking a little 2-year-old to protect me, or asking a chihuahua that can't protect himself damn near to protect me, or asking a homeless person to provide for me. So again, I spin it back at the person that's saying that, if they have malicious intent on saying it. The question is, if I'm so dominated and I'm so weak, why in the living fuck are we even having a conversation? You should be going somewhere else. You should be finding another store. If a restaurant has food you don't want, you don't bitch all day about the restaurant, not in the restaurant, you fucking leave. You may say you're not gonna pay, but you leave and you go to one that you want. So you have to again ask yourself, for the people that keep asking this question again, I'm assuming the people that ask this question have malicious intent. Why are you even in the space? Why are you even at the table? Why are you even there if you know what the conclusion is? If you're so sure, I will tell you why. It's because you have no other options. It's because ultimately, as weak and insignificant as a lot of these women will say black men are, and a lot of men that try to buy into it, we are the only option you have. Now, I have a question for you, Super Triz. What does that say about you if something or an individual you consider so weak and pathetic is your best choice?
That's a very interesting question, Edward. And honestly, there is no logical answer for that, unless I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Brace yourself. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, and this is just a whimsical confabulation on my behalf. There may be absolutely no credence to this particular hypothesis of sorts, but What if individuals asking those questions really had benevolent intent? What if the individuals were asking that questions merely to motivate us? What if the individuals were asking that questions under the assertion or even assumption that we as Black men would understand where they're coming from and not take offense to it? Maybe they feel as though if they're talking directly to us, and so it is not as though if they're trying to embarrass us in public, even though a lot of these conversations do happen on public forums. But I'm just speaking hypothetically for a second here.
Oh, absolutely. I can answer that really quick because I do that all the time. What do you think I'm doing when I'm talking about the matriarchy? I mean, BGS IBMOR did a video talk about the gynocracy. He did 2 videos, and in those 2 videos, he did one of them he did the Matrix, and he did like what is the Matrix? A prison for your mind. It's a feeling that you have, and then he went on to what he's talking about, saying you're a slave to the gynocracy. This is like, so I do what, that's what I'm doing. I'm saying that you have allowed vagina to basically dominate your mind. It is a prison for your mind. I'm not saying I'm not saying that you should go MGTOW and not have sex or do whatever Black people try to say MGTOW is. What I'm saying is you need to understand, just like how you are as a human being, you are dominated by your need to eat, to drink water. Okay, if you don't get air, you are a slave to air. If you don't get air within 20 minutes, you're going to get irrecoverable brain damage. And probably less than that, you could die, right? If you don't get food, if you don't get water, what, 3 days? You go to 4, maybe 5, you're dead. If you don't get food, what, week and a half, you're dead. If you don't get shelter, over time, you will be dead as well. But if you take the top 3, so food, so air, water, food, I would say the 4th thing to dominate your mind, because shelter doesn't really dominate your mind. You know what I'm saying? You don't get hungry. I need shelter. You do that for air, you do that for water, you do that for food. The next thing would be sex. Sex dominates your mind, especially when you're younger. Testosterone, you've been on BGS stuff, you know what it is, till you get to 35, where it takes that first drop, and then 40 takes that second drop. And then obviously there's stuff you can take to increase that. But the point is that from the time you're like 14, 15 to you're 35, that's a 20-year span, that dominates your mind because of all that testosterone. And if you don't, it's like a vice. If you don't say, okay, I recognize this is not good, this is not bad, it's not bad, it's not good, it is just a thing, and I need to create things around it so I can manage it.
Hold on for a second.
Yeah.
It's Men of Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. To manage it, then it will rule you. Like any drug, like anything. It will rule you. And you can honestly devolve this when it comes to women to even attention. Because women don't understand how much they need and value attention. Not really. They just
for a second. M.O.T, let me call you back from the actual, because this is not the same hangout. This is a different hangout. So I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna try to add you on the other one. Go to your Google Hangouts and click accept to my invitation, and then I'll be able to add you to this Google Hangout chat. Yeah, sorry about that, Edward.
No, absolutely. And I'll see if I can add M.O.T as well.
Yeah, add him because yeah. Oh, and while you're doing that, we gotta stop the hangout just for a second and acknowledge our super chat donators. We have a donation by Neon Eyes, $7.77. Neon Eyes, if you may put your channel in the live chat. Neon Eyes has a channel, and she's been so gracious as to donate $7.77. If she could donate $7.77, you guys can at least hit the like button. We have Edward Anderson, M.O.T is here now too. We got an all-star cast. So please hit the like button. Also, I just want to reference back to Dr. Ford. She was so gracious as to donate $25 via super chat. Thank you so much, Dr. Ford, for your super chat donation. Much appreciated. Edward, if you may continue.
Okay, yeah, and another thing,
welcome Nana tomorrow to the chat too. But go ahead, Edward.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one little soapbox thing, and then we'll get to regular programming. You know, Super Triz, look, I'm not one of these guys that ask for donations. Super Triz ain't either. Super Triz ain't hurt for money, you know, either. Here's the thing though. It don't act like I don't see it's two women, and it's much appreciated, by the way. They donated. When you got other YouTube, see, this is the shit that when dudes get so scared of women coming into the space, this is why they scared. Because a lot of times women will pay for what they want. Now, I'm not saying that's what they're doing. Obviously, they're donating because they support the content as is. But what I'm saying is, dude, you know, I'm not gonna act like, you know, when you want to talk about domination, because and I'm gonna get back to my other point, because O'Shea has brought this up too when he talks about political and stuff like that. Women will pay for their own shit as a group. Now we could argue why that is. I have my theories and all that, but at the end of the day, the results are results. And I can tell you, and other things that I do, if I take the gender out of it, and I'd be like, okay, I have this mission and I have this goal, I have to get from point A to point B. I'm not gonna lie. If I can get dudes that buy into what I'm doing, then yes, I can go to the moon. But I always have to keep in mind when I'm dealing with black people that it's, even though if I get dudes, we can probably do as more as a group with smaller numbers. The reality is, if I want to go mass, it's never a way for me to not to go completely around the women. And when I say women, I'm talking about the women that are in the 20%. Women like Erica, women like, you know, Nymus in the chat, Dr. Ford, stuff like that. This is why I always say that 20% of black women have an acceptable level of common sense and functionality. 80% is it's about degrees of dysfunction. That means like maybe the top 20 in that 80%. It's really when they get around like really bad folks, that's when they kind of sync with that. But you get them away from that, they generally are pretty straight up and logical. I just need to say that. And this is not me chastising nobody. This ain't even about the people in the chat. This is just me pointing this out in the manosphere as a whole. Because even a lot of times, O'Shea will have a lot of women donate. And this is something that's consistent. This is not something that is like a one-off. And y'all really got to think about that. Like any of y'all that ain't even donated $1, I'm gonna tell y'all, real talk. Shout out to Neon Eyes for putting PayPal. If y'all gonna donate through PayPal. Fuck YouTube, because YouTube, the money don't get YouTube takes 30%. So click that PayPal link. If you got $1, that dollar's going a lot more, you know, whatever. This ain't about talking about nobody donating. I just want to point that out because it wasn't just one, it's two now. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, and this stuff goes all the way through that. So anyway, like I was saying before, though, before I went on that tangent, like I said, I'm not trying to shame nobody. I just wanted to call that out. And that says a lot. Again, much appreciated to Neon Eyes and Dr. Ford as well, because, you know, people got to put their money up if they believe what they believe. So that's much appreciated, because that's even happened on my stuff, too, where it's like it's half and half now. So anyway, as far as what I was saying, what I say, when this is what I'm, M.O.T has said it. When I talk about the matriarchy, this is what I'm talking about. And it's the sex. Sex takes control of your mind and every decision that you're making. A woman has amplified power because, let's be honest, you're only looking at a woman for a sex object. And when I say looking at her from a sex object, I'm not talking about how women talk. What I'm talking about is from a position of, you look for a woman's validation. This is why I say this. You look for your manhood in a woman's womb. What that means is you are like a peasant, that you are not a real person. You're not King Arthur unless a woman has put her, just like they did on Infinity War when Tony Stark did the hand thing and said, you are an Avenger. You're not an Avenger until a woman gives you some pussy. And women recognize that, and it's created. I'm not saying this is the only reason why that is, but they create this arrogance where they can do a lot of things because they always know there's always a supply of bottom dick. And some of that dick might be really good that they can go to. So they don't have to be nothing else. Even fat chicks know this. All they gotta do is suck a dude's dick and a dude to pipe up. They know this is why they act like they 8s and 9s. They don't say, okay, I need to learn to cook or I need to learn how to a better personality to bridge the gap. They walking out here arrogant like a chick that's like a 8 or 9, and it's crazy. And that is because they know that black men are addicted not to sex, but to the possibility of sex, as Alan Roger Curry do it. Because most of these women ain't fucking most of these dudes. You don't believe me, and I'll pass the mic. You do not believe me. Do you understand how much whole money is about to rotate through Atlanta this weekend? Do you understand? It is about to be fucking Amazon about to build some shit level. We know how they trick in Atlanta. Only Houston can compete when it comes to the tricking. Like the strip clubs, the OnlyFans accounts, the Connect Power accounts, the like y'all talk about real cash. We ain't talking about virtual money. We ain't talking about like. Do you understand how many people are about to converge onto that Super Bowl and just piss away money? And you know what the sad thing is? A lot of these females are going to pick up a lot of that money and not even get fucked. The strip club, they not getting fucked. When they get on these cam girls, because when I mentioned OnlyFans and Connect Password, I'm talking about the cam girl market. They not getting the fuck. All they're doing is just showing shit. This is in an age of open porn that you can get on your phone, tablet, anywhere. This market exists and is getting bigger. So that's how crazy it is. You got women, these women don't even gotta look good. I can show you pictures of ogre looking females that will have a fucking $7 a month account and motherfuckers are paying it. Like they are paying it monthly. And then on top of that, because I've actually researched this shit, this is what they'll do, and then I'm done. They will do an Instagram account, and then they'll do what they can get away with Instagram. And they're on Instagram more now because Tumblr got shut down. So you get away a hell of a lot more on Tumblr. And then what they'll do is they'll have a link that you click on. They'll say OnlyFans, or now they're getting smart because people are getting smart on OnlyFans. What they'll do is they'll have a link and then they'll forward the domain to like these accounts that can give you multiple links, and then they'll go to OnlyFans and you sign up for, and then they'll have, message me for this private video that's $25. So these chicks have and I'm not hating on their hustle. I'm not hating on their hustle. Get your money. I'm really not. I wish women would be smarter about that. But now that just tells you how much incels and thirst it is. That tells you how dominated by the possibility of sex. We're not even talking about tricking when you're paying for a result. You're talking about the possibility. And I'm talking about black women. I'm not even talking about white women. I'm talking about black women only. Like when it comes to this, black men. That's how crazy it is. And then you don't even hear that in the manosphere. And if you want, and it's the last 30 seconds, if you want to understand how to get into a black man's pocket, you don't get into it by validating them. That's how you get into the women. You get into the dudes based on sex. Why do you think black men buy shoes that's $500? Or $300? Why do you think black men will buy a 10-year-old Mercedes Benz, even though you got to take care of that bitch with the gas and you got to take care of it like it's brand new if something breaks? They're doing it for the potential of increasing their status for sex. Why do you think dudes that are Pookies and Ray Rays that can get women don't tend to buy this shit? Because they already have the result. So they literally there's no point having any of this shit because I can be a homosexual and trade off a dick currency. And they're perfectly happy doing that. They hold card to get pulled every once in a while when the woman gets mad. But if the dick's good enough, the woman will calm down. It's a matter of weathering the storm. That is domination. And that is an L that, yes, black men got to hold. Anyway, I'm going to be quiet for a while because, my bad.
Well, you brought up a very interesting point because there seems to be an entire economy based on the domination of certain demographics of men. Now, I'm a firm believer that, again, this sort of domination that you speak of transcends cultural boundaries. because I believe that they're men of all ethnicities.
Oh no, it absolutely no. Make no mistake, it absolutely does. Black men tend to be a little bit more goofier about it, but when it comes to, but make no mistake, it's way more white incels doing this shit. Way more. It's just I said that from a black economic lens, but you're absolutely right. My bad. I won't.
And thank you so much for your insight, Edward. But before we go to M.O.T, Man of Tomorrow, and mods in the chat, if you may, can you place the YouTube channels for Mr. Edward Anderson and Mr. Man of Tomorrow into the chat? And I will encourage everybody that's in the live chat right now, if you haven't already subscribed to Edward Anderson or Man of Tomorrow, make sure you guys do that. And for those individuals that are already subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit that like button. Much appreciated. I want to go over to the super chats because we have some very generous patrons here. I want to first go over to Gab Talk Media with a $5 donation. Thank you so much, Gab Talk Media. For those of you who are unaware of Gab Talk Media, he does have a very, 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 very nice platform. Gab Talk Media on YouTube. Gab Talk, if you may put your link to your channel in the chat as well. For those of you not subscribed to Gab Talk Media, now's the time to do so. Gab Talk, I did send you a link. I'm not sure if you got it or not, or I think you said you were sick. So, but if you are wanting to come on, make sure you hit that link. Moses Jenkins, again, if you want to join the chat, make sure you send your email. Moses Jenkins with the incredible $20 donation says, Dub Club, proud supporter of meaningful content. And that means a lot coming from Moses Jenkins. Moses Jenkins, I'm not sure if he has his own YouTube channel, but he does speak on several platforms, and he has some very, very insightful perspectives on a lot of topics. Moses Jenkins, again, if you want to join the conversation, make sure you put your email in the chat. Thank you again to Gab Talk Media, Moses Jenkins, and of course, Dr. Ford and Neon Eyes for their super chat donations. Let's go over to Man of Tomorrow. Man of Tomorrow, the question today is, are Black men in America dominated? And the reason I pose this question, as you and I discussed yesterday, there's a collection of YouTubers who consistently say that Black men as a whole are dominated in America. The reason why I find this interesting is because as a society, we all have to work together as a collective for the benefit of the society as a whole. So we all have our positions. We all play our roles in a particular society. When we look at all nations on the planet, there's a small group of individuals who control a majority of the resources. So that will make most inhabitants of the planet Earth dominated. We do have a couple of examples of individuals not dominated. Of course, these are individuals who live in extremely remote areas and who have foregone technology and some of the creature comforts we enjoy here in the United States and abroad to a certain degree in order to evade dominance. So the evasion of dominance in this day and age comes at a cost. What do you think about what has been said thus far, M.O.T?
I mean, what most people don't understand is we have the appearance of dominance because of our lack of voice within the media spectrum. If you look at sports, if you look at politics, where we can actually engage, if you look at it throughout an historical perspective, whenever we have an equal shot at anything, we dominate anything that we touch. Like if Black people went into hockey tomorrow, there wouldn't be that many white dudes left in hockey. The thing is, Black people don't like the cold weather, so they're getting off easy for right now. But it's just that you have to realize is that these people have a legitimate fear, and you have to pay attention to other people's fears and strategize around their fears. Like when I got my first contract, they feared the fact that a simple person who got kicked out of the military in the same squadron would be able to come back and take over a contract doing that same exact thing. And they were like, they never even seen anybody do anything like that before. Like, how did you get that done? No, I strategized with people behind the scenes. The point is that we're dominant. We don't have strategy. We are dominant individuals, but we're not dominant as a group. There's a lot of people who don't participate in politics. I'm going to do a show Friday on politics and how we could be able to regain our dominance in politics that we had in the 60s when we first got it. But you have to understand that there's a lot of people out here who don't understand how the game is played politically. And as Plato said, just because you lose your interest in politics, I'm just paraphrasing, doesn't mean that politics doesn't take an interest in you. And every time you talk about how to strategize, the dumbest of the dumb always come to the top and say up front, well, what are you going to do for us? And all this kind of stuff. I'm like, dude, that's not how politics works. But you have to understand that Black people are not dominated. We just don't have a voice to voice our concern, which make us look like we're dominated. I guarantee you, if there was a 1,000%, 100% Black YouTube, to where that type of Black YouTube had their own products that they sold exclusively to Black people, you would be able to have the same advertisers who advertise on Fox News, knowing what their business model is. They would not have a problem with advertising on a Black YouTube. As long as it's organized, as long as it's connected, as long as you have the right type of model, they would have no reason to not engage in it because people are about money. And capitalism runs the whole country. That includes politics. And I'm sorry to say this, but white ignorance runs the main course of the media. You have people who talk about there's a liberal media, but they never address Fox News. You want to know why? Because Fox News get a big market share of white ignorance. Everybody has to play this both sides do it game to kind of get Fox News' market share. There is a market for truth. You just have to make sure that it's available for most people to get because everybody can't digest the truth because they've been kind of ran into this simple fact that they have to be entertained in order for them to learn something. And what you look at most other races of people who come here as immigrants, they understand how this game works and they're able to have their culture intact and actually make things work within this country. So it's like this. As much as they talk shit about Muslims, are Muslims really oppressed in this country? Hell no. They might have a show of force in Texas or whatever about people coming out there and like walking up to their mom. Yeah, just wait till all the people get concealed carry license like everybody else can. All of a sudden, you don't have those issues anymore. It's just that we as Black people, we don't strategize. We don't allow the smartest of the smart to lay down the groundwork of how everybody would gain from it. And that is how come we have the problems that we have. Like when I go to other cultures, they understand immediately that I'm not about the games here. This guy is somebody who needs to be listened to. But even within the culture here, I have to dress a certain way and act a certain way depending on what state I'm in. So that way I can be able to garner the actual favor of people. So that way we can all win. And other cultures don't have that. So it's just like, when you talk about the dominance against the Black man, It's more of an indictment of the woman who's trying to supplant the black. That's
Say that again, M.O.T.
the black woman. And I'm not talking about the Ericas, Dr. Fords. I'm not talking about the interview today. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the 80% that Edward Anderson talked about. They want to supplant black men, but you don't understand. Once you supplant black men, you don't have power. Once you supplant black men, because men control and distribute power down. In a matriarchy, women control and distribute power across. And that's bad because people don't understand that access to sex is only important to reptiles. It's not important to anybody else, anywhere else but here. When I went to Germany, fresh out of high school when I was 17 years old, I realized how meaningless sex was once I went to Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany. Oh, like, holy shit, this dude's a decent black guy. I immediately got played. You want to know why? They liked, loved, and respect men, and they knew exactly what men brought to the table, and they wanted to build immediately. Before I actually knew that there was prostitutes on every single corner, 7 different ways before I got to their house. But you have to understand that women have weaponized the actual access to sex against men in the culture to build their own power. Now, it would be different if they was taking these single black boys, turn them into doctors on a one-to-one basis, turn them into dentists, pharmacists. We're talking about high-skilled labor on a one-to-one basis. They would have an actual argument for the matriarchy. Look at what we're doing with these children. We are way better than you black men. But that's not what's happening out here. It's quite the opposite. Once the marriage rate flipped, the actual progress of black people flipped. And those are the things that happen with the matriarchy. And you can't turn to any other culture in the world where they would even allow women to have that much power over their men, to go side with the government for scraps over their men. And this is the reason why people in this country don't want to compare the women in the culture to women of other cultures. Who, where them and their men, they don't even like each other. They have to get married on paper to look better on paper when they come over here in America, when they apply for anything, even asylum, better treatment, or anything. They are forced to work it out. There is no force for this woman in this culture to work out anything with men in this culture. And that's what we lost as a people.
Thank you so much. Very, very powerful words from Men of Tomorrow. If you guys haven't subscribed to Men of Tomorrow's channel, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, man. You guys are behind the curve. Make sure you go over to Men of Tomorrow's channel and subscribe ASAP. We have some other distinguished guests on the panel now. We are joined by Mr. Tony Garrison as well as B.M.T. Before we go to B.M.T, I want to jump over to Tony Garrison. Thank you for joining us. This stream was due in part to Tony Garrison's request that this topic actually be addressed. Me and him have talked extensively behind the scenes, and I'm glad to actually have him on the panel with us today. Mr. Tony Garrison, we're talking about the domination or alleged domination of a particular demographic of men of the diaspora here in the United States. My question to you, are Black men dominated here in America? If so, why? And if not, please explain.
Okay. First off, salute to all the brothers and all the family. You know, we holding it down. We heavy out here. You know, sub to all the brothers' channel on the panel except mine because I ain't got no damn channel. Uh, on the topic, this is really what it breaks down to. It's in the mix. I mean, it's between what Man of Tomorrow said, what Edward said, and what you said, Super Triz, because we are subjects of this country on a couple different levels. On top of that, though, we do have certain autonomy as brothers in a very specific way, and we're not 100% dominated where we're like bitches, where you know, where a white dude walks down the street and punks us out. You know, that don't really happen that much. It's starting to come back because of some of the black millennials and how they've been raised and the generations following them, but that's more socialization, and it ties into the women. And I'm not digging on sisters, but we have to look at how they've been used since slavery, the majority of them, to dominate and control their own men. I use dominate loosely. Maybe I should switch that word out. I'll say to control their own men. And they're used as proxies through which the European powers can exercise control over black men, because the black man is one of the biggest threats to said power, even though it's kind of fading as we see today. The remnant still will be strong enough to defeat us if we do mount an assault, allegedly. So, you know, it's very interesting to see these dynamics play out. And I really think, like I said, we're not wholly dominated, because Brother Angry Man did make a good point about how we still have some of the masculine traits and still, you know, have some of the willpower to fight. And there are select few among us who are actually galvanizing brothers and sisters and leading them to do the right thing, which ties into what Man of Tomorrow was saying. We do need our own media to promote a narrative of strong brothers, and we have got to get some of these women and weaker black people out of the mix, because they're literally just dragging us down into the mud. I'm not a black elitist per se, but I do understand some of the talented 10th philosophy. And I think the talented 10th would be a good service if we brought it back, but in a different way, not a Kuhn or a Boulay way, but more so a revamp, a cultural revamp and retaking of our history, the knowledge that was lost, economics, media, things of that nature. So it's like a multi-layer, multi-pronged attack plan over a couple years. That's what I really think. I think that's pretty much it. And it's kind of cold up here in Chicago, so, you know, I'm sniffling a lot.
Tony, okay, we're going to get to the super chats just momentarily, but I just have to stop the chat for just a second, because I got to ask you a personal question, Tony Garrison. How old are you?
22.
Okay, so we have a 22-year-old man dropping knowledge. I mean, 22. Now, I'm going to be honest, at 22, I wasn't there. Not where Tony Garrison is at. My motivation was women. I was motivated by money just to get women, but my primary motivation was women. Mm-hmm. I didn't really think, you know, abstractly. I didn't really think beyond, you know, immediate enjoyment, you know. And for somebody who's 22 years of age, and I don't mean that in a negative way, Tony, but to be 22 years of age and have the level of insight you have, it's just outstanding. I just want to say that.
Thank you.
But let me go over to the super chat donation, because I mean, we got some really, really generous viewers tonight. And I want to say thank you to everybody. Those of you who have super chatted, those of you who are viewing at this point, thank you for the views. Thank you for everybody who's liked the video thus far. But I do want to go over to the super chats, and let's we got a very recent. Wait a minute, hold on for a second. I knew I wasn't tripping. Arain Knights, 2 super chat donations. I was like, what happened to his message? It's because he wrote 2 super chat donations. Arain Knights. The first super chat, gentlemen, yes, you have our attention, Arain Knights. The second super chat, Brother M.O.T. should I lease purchase for 264,000 to 330,000? And when he says lease, should I lease purchase? I'm not exactly sure if he's referring to private property or commercial property.
No, he's talking about
a truck
or purchasing a truck, and that is a bad idea. And I will explain to him why it is a bad idea. And I really need to come out here and put a trucker channel out here.
Yeah, we definitely discussed it because I do have knowledge. I do have a little bit of knowledge of trucks, and really and truly, just a brief tangent. A used truck, a diesel truck, you can have a 500,000 miles on a diesel truck and it still be viable. So, I mean, like really and truly to purchase or lease a truck for that amount of money, that's something that you would do. That's a decision you would even think about if you're established. And even most established truckers, they're not going to spend that kind of money on a new rig. We got to ask yourself, what's the return on that investment? And I understand some people, they get discouraged by having a truck and having it in the shop and not being able to be productive. But think about this. If you had two trucks, and I say this because I knew somebody who had two trucks. He paid about $20,000 for each truck, or $24,000 for each truck. When one truck was in the shop, and if you have a used truck, it's going to be in the shop sometimes. A blowout tire or like some type of engine work. Sometimes the engine work takes a while. But he had one truck. When one truck was in the shop, he drove the other truck. So that's something to think about. You can spend $50,000 and have two trucks versus one truck for $250,000. And yeah, it's going to have a nice little sleeper, all the new technology, and but really and truly, a lot of the components are replaceable. You can replace the GPS unit, you can replace the bed, you can replace the microwave and the refrigerator. There's just certain things you could add on a generator, small generator. So there's a lot of things that you can do as opposed to spending that amount of money in the truck. But again, that's M.O.T's area of expertise, and I'm sure he would be able to elaborate more on that. But again, thank you for the super chat donation. That was a very, very great question, and I'm sure M.O.T will address it in depth at a later time. But I want to go over to B.M.T. He's been waiting very patiently. Thank you for joining me, B.M.T. Before you get started, if you would maybe tell the viewers a little bit about your platform or platforms, because you do have a couple of them, and then you can go on about your little spiel.
Pretty much. Well, I'm B.M.T, Black Male Talk, and also on the affiliate of Black Male Talk Media, along with Black Men's Congregation, which is co-partnered with me and M.O.T. We also have BMT2 and BMT Unfiltered, the uncensored one that is for special delegates, which we have not released any of those case files because I know our asses would be in so much trouble. So we will not release that type of stuff. We're gonna that's gonna be, you got to pay to play to be in those type of shows. But for the most part, we are building up a network for Black men, and this has been very successful. Whereas we can do the uncut, the unfiltered, the unadulterated, masculine type of talk, just like how you was getting a taste from the M.O.T channel late night. You also get that on BMT, Brothers Amongst Men. We are trying to bring the man back in masculine, and we're trying to definitely put that where, as we believe in Black men first, red pill, MGTOW. We believe in no bullshit allowed, and that we're all about getting our money first, pussy later. That's something that all Black men need to be on code about. We need to start building our own code that we follow by, not this bullshit code. I just finished doing a show just a few minutes ago about should the patriot. It was a debate between me and another Black man on should the patriarchal role of a man die off. He was for patriarchy dying off. He thinks that masculinity needs to die off. And I was debating on why it should. So, like I said, it's real out here where there's advocates who believe in that. And honestly, where I hear some people say that, I want a lot of you black males to know right now, a lot of you black men to know that you are at a disadvantage. However, you can, even though that you're at a disadvantage, a weakened animal can still bear its fangs. It can still maneuver through the trenches until it's strong enough to fight. I say that because I've come from some places. I've been overseas. I've traveled around the world. I'm well learned. You know, I bought my first company when I was 22 years old. I've been out there with the Pookies and the Rayways, and I'm not proud of that. But I said, this bullshit's not working. And you see, the thing about it is, a lot of you black men, I want you to understand that playing by the matriarchal system, the system that is set up for you, you want to play by their rules, you're going to get fucked by their rules. But if you learn their rules and what they put on the board, you don't have to play their game. See, the thing about playing the gambling game of where's the right card is you step away from the table. Say, I'm not playing that game. I'm keeping my money. Take your money and put it somewhere else. Set up your own goddamn game. And you see, that's the thing about it, that black men, we have forgotten that that's how we did it. They didn't want you part of the goddamn baseball league. You built your own goddamn baseball league. They didn't want you part of playing basketball with them. You did your own basketball team. They didn't want you to work there. So guess what? You did your own brickwork. You probably didn't make as much as them, but if you worked enough goddamn houses and worked on enough goddamn properties, guess what? You made the same money that you would have made that one goddamn in 2 weeks. You made it in that 1 week. But see, you had to have a drive as a man. But see, with the way that the system is going right now, you're being trained to think that I have to obey and follow under their servitude. This is why you're seeing a lot of men taking on the talking points of effeminate action. This is why you're seeing a lot of men get on these bitch-made platforms and trying to bowl, shuck, and jive and shit. Where the only way that you can be winning is if you have a woman by your side. Fuck all that bullshit. I'd rather be alone laying on a goddamn cockroach-infested apartment and making my money. But I know that where I am today is not going to be like that always tomorrow. But see, that is the desire of saying that, listen, I'm willing to go and die than be enslaved, than be in some type of slavery. And you see, we got to understand that, first of all, you got to recognize the enemy and recognize your faults and your defaults. When we as men can start doing that, then we can start making moves. We can. Now, of course, the question comes across, are black men in America dominated? And sadly to say, the black man has been dominated for a long time. I'm not going to lie to y'all and say that we were winning, that we were kings and queens and all shit. No, nigga, it was never like that. But if we were winning, then guess what? We would know how to get right back up. We would have bounced right back. The Jews did it. The Asians did it. Hell, the Indians did it. The fuck, we couldn't figure out how to do it again. But see, if we were in some type of control, the minute that we got hit by them two big hits in the 60s and the 70s, we would have got our ass right back on there. The minute that shit would have happened and they would say, listen, you either can take welfare, but you have to leave out the home, we would say, fuck that goddamn welfare check. Me and my woman, we guess we're going to give me that little plot of land and I'll just work it I'll work it for what it's worth. See, that's the thing about it, that you got to get to that mindset. That's why we're dominated, because we took the goddamn check. Now, I got a question. Do all of y'all, now, see, now let's be for real. Not every man's going to be a goddamn business owner. But that doesn't mean you always have to be under somebody. You can work your way up to management, supervisor, retail district manager. You can work your way up into a position of power. Or are you lax being with your friends, sitting in the back by the dumpster, smoking cigarettes? But see, that's what they see you as. The crumpled up cigarettes by the dumpster. But you got to ask yourself, what do you want to do? How do you want to change your life? Are you going to keep chasing after that bitch that don't see you unless you is on the 1st and the 15th with that check? That's when she sees you. Are you going to keep sticking your dick in that same woman that everybody in the community already done fuck with? Only time she want to fuck with you is when she needs you. Not when she wants you at a convenience. She needs you. And that's something that we got to be on. That's the thing that us black men, we need to be on code about. We need to really be on code about this kind of shit because honestly, this is where we're seeing now. I'm gonna call it and I'm gonna predict it right now. The manosphere is going to split in half. The black manosphere is going to split. Mark my words on today. I said it on Super Triz's channel. The manosphere is going to split. Like any old type of black affiliated type of congregation, the manosphere is going to split in half. Watch it. I'm seeing it just like I've seen the black church split in half, just like I've seen the black community split in half. The manosphere is going to split in half. It's going to go to the simping unconsciously, those who simp consciously, and there's going to be those who say, fuck it. All is lost. Jump overboard. I'll just have to swim for land or drown. And that's where we're at right now. And I'm watching that shit. And I already jumped off the ship. Fuck it. I'd rather freeze and goddamn swim for land. As long as I can keep a pace, I'll make it there. And see, that's something I gotta say. Now, the thing about it with the colorful tint, the brother brought up the colorful tint, correct? The colorful tint understood this. We're too smart to work with you niggas. That's something the colorful tint understood this. Why do you think you don't see the black elite try to fix the community? But they say, hold on, if we fix the community, then guess what? That means they're gonna come where we're at. So think about that. That means if they're gonna fix the doggone community, that means they're gonna come where we're at, and that means we gotta have those type of degenerates and their bastard babies work and fuck with us. That's too much of a risk. Because we already see they can't even control their own shit. Why do you think Oprah won't get with a billionaire man? There's black billionaire men, but Oprah don't want to share that. Oprah don't want to be under no rule under no men. That's a fact. Why do you think you don't see rappers living together in an all-black community? Why? Because they don't know how to actually build and share power and actually learn how to make it and manifest it into something bigger. They don't know how to do that shit. They're niggas. See, only fools start saying only blacks aren't monolithic. You're right. That's a feminine talking point. That's Raven Pookie shit. But what I'm saying is, guess what? Niggas are so focused on goddamn getting pussy rather than actually worry about getting their fucking money. And because they're on that shit right now, this is why the white man is no longer. This is why the white man said, I'm not worried about these niggas anymore. At one time, we had to fight these niggas to stay out of school. Now they rather stay out of school, get high on dope, and fuck. But they don't even know who the hell their kids are. So why are we worried about these niggas again? That's why they worried about the Latinos. That's why they worry about the Africans and the immigrants that come over. Because see, they're not trying to take part in the goddamn buffoonery. They say, oh, that black man, he's been here for 200 years. But why ain't he taking advantage of this shit? Oh, he's been domesticated. Well, he gave up. He stopped fighting. They killed a few of his leaders. He don't give a fuck to fight anymore. And the ones who actually understand it and actually fight secretly. See, that's the thing about it with the Matrix. Were the rebels, were they fighting in the open or were they doing things covertly and they saw somebody who wanted to change and they took them out of the Matrix? You get what I'm saying? They said, oh, I see you want out. Do you sure you want out? If you want to stay in, take this blue pill. You ain't gonna never see us again. Now, if you want out now, I'm gonna let you know right now. When you get out, everything's gonna be shit. Now, if you see everything's going to shit, I want you to know, nigga, that you can't get the fuck right back in. You got to stick it out because they're not going to accept you. See, that's what I want you, a lot of you black men, to understand. Because what we're saying right here on Super Triz, right now on his channel, understand this, black man, the knowledge that you received tonight, these niggas are not going to want to fuck with you. That black bitch, she's not going to want you in her bed because you're not going to yield to that pussy. And if you ain't willing to die and for that pussy and be part of Ray Ray Pookie's drone army, guess what? You no good to them. So you got to get the fuck out and leave Egypt. This is why the Israelites weren't allowed in the promised land. But those niggas didn't know how to handle freedom. That's why they said they'd rather go back to Egypt and be slaves. See, that's what the black community said that they did. They went back to Egypt. They went back to being domesticated bitches. And because they did that shit, that's why y'all keep telling me, Joe, are you going back to the black community to fix it? Fuck that damn community. That shit ain't mine. I didn't build that shit. My shit that I build, Nick, not everybody can get in goddamn Negrostan. Y'all can't get in my goddamn country. If you did, I'll be burning a lot of witches at the stake, and I'll be shooting a lot of niggas on goddamn the wall. But I promise you, we'll have a goddamn utopia after a while. So y'all brothers go ahead. I'm just lighting it up for goddamn Super Trizz's channel. Let's go ahead and get this cracking, bro. I'm just drinking my beer.
I appreciate that input, you know, and you brought up a very, very great point. Because for people that don't want to be dominated, there's plenty of ways to do it. Live off the grid. We see an example, North Sentinel Island. But see, they've been culturally acclimated to that type of lifestyle over millennia. Most people in westernized civilizations, they can't revert back to that sort of lifestyle. They can't be hunter-gatherers. They can't be nomadic. They like to carry around too much baggage. They can't forego those creature comforts they enjoy so much. They can't go back to the point in life, in humanity, where every man had to carry his own weight. See, in America, you can skate by being mediocre. But in a society like what exists in North Sentinel Island and some of the areas within the Amazon, the weak are eliminated. Either you're ostracized by your tribe and left to fend for yourself, or you simply die. Societies like that, you have to be productive. So some people want to be in a society where they don't have to be productive. They don't have to be exceptional. They can be mediocre on somebody else's dime. And we had a question by Dr. Ford, and it's referencing B.M.T's assertion that the Negro manosphere or Black manosphere will at some point in time split. Well, B.M.T, perhaps you didn't get the memo. It's already split. Like certain individuals, like their videos don't even appear on my timeline or on my suggestions because I'm so far removed from those mindsets and ideologies. I don't even get suggestions for their videos, for their content.
Bro, you speaking truth, Super Triz. I don't. Sometimes they be posting videos. I don't even see them anymore.
I don't see them at all.
I don't see them. I don't see them anymore. And it's crazy. I want a lot of y'all know that. Y'all notice that y'all not seeing a lot of these Black manosphere videos pop up like they used to anymore. Why? Because the talking point that they used to talk by. See, YouTube has an algorithm. You talk on a certain talking point, your video gonna show up on that algorithm talking point because those are the type of people that you watch. So their messages should all line up. Super Triz's message should line up with B.M.T's message. But if B.M.T is not talking the same talking points as Super Triz is talking, guess what? My videos aren't going to show up because I'm not aligned with him. Tell y'all, niggas ain't on that fucking code no more. Go ahead, Super Triz.
And before we go to our esteemed panel member, AM1, who has just joined us, thank you so much. I want to first go over to the Super Chat donations. We have yet another Super Chat donation. And I want to just thank Frogbox personally. Frogbox, here's my late fee. He is one of the day ones. My very, very, very first stream I did on my channel. Frogbox was the first person to show up. My very first stream. So I always got to show respect to Frogbox because he is definitely always welcome here. One of our great moderators here on this channel. And he always shows up, sometimes late, but he's always there. I know he works a lot in law enforcement, but we do appreciate you're being here, Frogbox. And again, I just want to say Dr. Ford, Neon Knights, Gap Talk Media, Moses Jenkins, and Arain Knights. Thank you again for your Super Chat donations. Now, AM1, representing Oakland, representing all street.
Hey. All Street Looks, all studios, doing it all, trying to make moves in the Bay. Y'all hear me okay?
Yeah,
Go ahead. Pop your collar one time.
Hey, you know, we popping collars, we popping bottles, sipping on a gang of rum, doing it way more public out here on a little business trip, trying to have fun, but trying to stay on a business focus. Shout out to everybody on the panel, of course, my G's, everybody in the chat. I hope everybody's doing well. And just chilling, just kind of throwing off on the time, just working, grinding out, enjoying the dope views. It's crazy, man. Eating a gang of food. I'm probably about to put on some weight because I mean, housekeeping and whatnot. I mean, not to sidetrack the whole discussion, which is interesting. You know what? I'm out here doing it big on the work tip. You guys know I came into the manosphere saying some things that upset people. People didn't like some of the things I was saying as far as brothers just really focusing in and really leveling up yourself first and foremost. And that goes for the brothers and the sisters, really. But I'm a man, so I'll focus more on the men and the brothers I can really tap in with. And just saying, hey, look, we need to really refine ourselves and operate in on a whole new level of just smoothness about how we get it in out here, because we have individual targets on our back, collective targets on our back as men. A lot of our women being weaponized.
Speaking of getting it in, because you do get it in. I need my mods. Can y'all please link AM1's channel, his Instagram, and his website in the live chat? While he's talking, I want everybody to check out those. And if you haven't subscribed to AM1, I need y'all to do so at this time. But go ahead, AM1.
I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, that's also one here on YouTube, AM1 on YouTube, and then my other All Studios Oak on IG, on Twitter, All Studios. That's my urban multimedia brand. We do fashion, events, motion graphics, design type work that is business to business. We do a lot of different things, you know what I mean? And then, of course, AM1 Creative Consulting, my more client-facing work. That's what brought me here to the DR, doing some branding type work and media work for my clients out here, the ladies doing their recovery suites, royalty suites sort of thing. And again, that's all the fruits of the labor I've been putting in, the work I've been putting in as far as really honing my skills, making some sacrifices, not out here chasing a gang of ass. I get it in how I get it in. And I can't be arm twisted by the women. You know, a lot of women's emotions are being used against us. Black folks are behind in a lot of numbers. Everybody check out the epic video from B.M.T. He basically took a lot of the points that I've came into the manosphere with and refined it to a degree that I don't think I could ever top. Not that I'm trying to compete with him. He basically took, you know, a baton of sorts. I sent him over some information, some data about the numbers, wealth numbers for Black folks. And he arrived at the same conclusion any logical thinking person would do, put their emotions aside and said, hey, we are so far behind more than we even thought. We need to be real careful about how we're throwing our dicks around. Women saying they want, you know, the same family man shit over and over. But then everybody want to talk about how we're being oppressed, that we're being dominated. We're being dominated. The Black man is being dominated, yet women are trying to keep us in boxes into status quo type situations that are going to keep us all dominated. You can't have it both ways. You cannot have it both ways. It's just real interesting. I'm noticing a shift within the manosphere. The brothers getting it together on a lot of different things. There's a content coming from brothers who aren't heavily monetized and aren't big channels that have more liberty to just, you know, keep it real and keep the truth. Some of the brothers here on this very panel heard me say I need to back up off certain things and keeping it a little too real because it's bad for business for some folks that I have respect for. And brothers was hitting me on direct messages on my phone like, nah, bro, there's a market for the truth. Shout out to my dude, Big M.O.T. He tapped in with me. A lot of brothers was on a support type level saying, hey, AM1, just lock in and keep doing what you're doing. And because brothers is feeling it. Some people won't. Some people, you know, get in their feelings. Not to be long-winded. I actually got to peel out because the chef here just made everybody dinner. So I'm gonna try to pop back on. Not to stun on y'all, but I'm out here in Dominican Republic up in this fat ass. Man, I'm on 28th floor. This apartment is ridiculous. These suites and things, it's nuts, y'all. I'm gonna try to come back in and tap in with y'all. So I appreciate y'all letting me holler and trying to build with y'all real quick. Black men being dominated, it's a joke. I mean, everybody's being dominated if you want to keep it a buck. So anybody really trying to run with that talking point, it technically is true, but it's only a half story, and it's something that you can use to leverage your channel and rile up a bunch of women that want to root for the team of Black men ain't shit. Facts. But it's the same raggedy ass chick saying this type of shit and Ask those same chicks who are saying black men are being dominated, ask them what they're doing on a day-to-day basis to elevate the condition of all black folks and see how loud the crickets are in the background. Feel me?
Yep.
AM1 sharp on all four corners represent Oakland. Yeah, he's stunning. He over there, with the chef and housekeeping services and all that good stuff. I don't know, but it don't sound like he's being dominated to me. I mean,
exactly.
You guys let me know.
Brothers, stay focused on your shit. Like a lot of young brothers hit me and be like, AM1, how do you approach? How do I get quality ladies? What do you do to approach pussy? I'm like, look, be about your shit. Get your skills and trades up. Focus in. Lead with business. Don't lead with your wallet. Don't be trying to pay for shit. Don't be jumping through hoops. Don't be arm twisted. Let the ladies know. Let everybody know you about business and you bringing value. You making yourself a resource for yourself and for your people. If you do that, quality women will approach you and you'll be able to pick and choose. You know what I mean? Like it works for me. That's my angle. I cannot be arm twisted. I cannot be forced into any situation that's just not how I want to roll. And it just got to be that. It's get down or lay down. You rocking with your boy or you're not. Peace out. Somebody will. It's real simple. Keep an extra player like that. Not that I'm trying to get over on nobody or treat nobody wrong or disrespect nobody, but I'm not about to play some status quo games just for the sake of somebody's punk ass emotional state. It's not happening. But I'm gonna try to tap in with our brothers again. I'm gonna try to listen in when I'm at this dinner, though. I appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you stopping by, AM1. Greatly appreciate it. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna move into the quote unquote lightning round. Everybody has had an opportunity to really give their introductions and expound on some of their perspectives, but we want to kind of ramp the pace up just a bit and allow people to respond to each other on a more expedient basis. We're going to go first to M.O.T, and we're going to try to keep our actual talking points to about 2 minutes, and we're going to rotate too. Everybody's going to get an opportunity to speak repeatedly, but we want to actually just speed up the pace just a bit. So M.O.T, you've heard what everybody on the panel has said just thus far. What is your take?
My take is it comes from this quote from Alfred Lord Tennyson. A lie which is half a truth is an ever blackest of lies. The actual fact that you think that you are dominated in this society is laughable. The only thing that controls most minds in the country is the things that you see on actual TV. The things on TV are not real. Those people who get paid millions of dollars to do quote unquote news are not real. The only thing that's real is the things that you engage in, study for, and engage in your personal life. You have to realize there is the only quote unquote white man you see in the mirror is the own simple fact of all the things that you never engaged in, you never studied upon. That guy who you look in the mirror is all the chances that you didn't take. And you need to stay the hell away from anybody who tells you that you are somehow a lesser human being because of where you're from. Me, I'm from the poorest part of the entire United States. That has not changed. If I would not have left at 17 years old, I would be in the same mind state that everyone else is in right now. You have to be able to move from the starting point and compare yourselves to other people and be better as people. That's the only way you can get this stuff done. And listening to these people who are not about truth, they love your broken state. That's all I got to say, man. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you so much, M.O.T, and we'll rotate it back around to you. I want to jump over to Tony Garrison. We're gonna start calling Tony Garrison the Prodigy. The young Prodigy is in the building. Tony Garrison, what do you think?
This is what I'll say. Definitely, I agree with what Man of Tomorrow's just said. We definitely have to look at our manhood and all these things through the lens of gaining power, because power is exclusive. So I will say this again. If you have family members or people around you who are holding you down, cast them aside because they are useless to you. You are on a mission ordained by the universe it's showing us now that now is the time. If you do not take advantage of it now, there will never be another chance. So you really need to think about that from the perspective of we're running out of time and we're way behind in the race. And everything is about power and everything is about winning. So if you want to win and you want to have power, you have to fight for it. You have to train to be able to fight for it. That's all I'll say about that.
Thank you so much, Tony Garrison. I appreciate you guys making your responses brief so that way we can kind of rotate through the chat. I'm going to go over to B.M.T. B.M.T., you have the floor.
What's the question? I want to make sure I get it. I want to be very accurate.
Well, there's no specific question at this point. We're just kind of responding. We're kind of building and feeding off of each other. Anything that you want to add, we're just trying to keep it brief and just kind of rotate through everybody so everybody get an opportunity to speak multiple times. So,
okay. I want to pretty much accurately, I want to just tell a lot of you men, when I speak to y'all as men, you don't have time to really be fooling around and wasting. That's one thing that society has geared you up to say, live life and die young, or live recklessly. To be reckless, that means that you have to be wasteful. I would honestly tell you, you don't have that type of option. What honestly you need to be doing is gaining and keeping your ears to the ground, researching, take up classes, learn about art, learn about some type of trade, learn about something that is a necessity that is being needed, not something that is only for the moment. I thought that, hey, why do I need to learn how to do plumbing? Little did I know, times when I didn't have a job, or when I came back home from off of leave, and we didn't have, we got let off the base, I could go over and go do some carpentry or some plumbing, because I had that skill. I didn't have to use it right then and there, but it was always there. You having an extra skill makes you more valuable, because that means you're more maneuverable. And see, that's the thing about a lot of you black men. Y'all need to understand that y'all need to be gathering like a squirrel and be gathering doggone resources. Be stingy with yourself for once. Because right now, as long as you don't have that type of, as long as you ain't trying to gather, you can't dominate anything, or you can't move in any field or make your own type of playing field. You have to play by their game. So that's it.
Yes. And thank you so much. And I believe, there are groups of men who are actually galvanizing. Unfortunately, these men are often overlooked in society because we are a very superficial nation. We're more concerned with aesthetic appeal than true substance, than content of character. And those individuals who are worthy of merit will simply move on. I think this is the point that we're getting to now. We're not dwelling on those individuals who can't be reached. And we're not entertaining venues where we're not appreciated. Mr. Tony Garrison, let me go over to you. And I want to ask you a question. For men who feel as though if they're not appreciated, feel as though if they can't reach women within their own demographic. I'm going to you because I need to ask the young prodigy the tough question. And I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just really open-ended question. I just want your perspective, because maybe they don't need to go anywhere. Maybe there's something they can do where they're at.
Okay.
Because if we talk about, this is a very tough. We talk about quality men, and what defines a quality man, right? A man who commands respect and accepts nothing less. A man who is, you don't even have to be rich, but you have to be a good steward of your own resources. So even if you make $50,000 a year, you're living within your means and you're allocating enough money from your income towards savings for the future, provisioning for a rainy day. So it's not about how much money you make. It's about how you manage the money that you do have. So for individuals who are having issues with resonating with women from their own particular demographic, what do you suggest that they do? They've done everything else. They've provisioned for the future. They've maintained a semblance of independence. They've held their head high. They command respect amongst men, at least, but they can't get the respect of the women. What do you suggest?
First, I would have to ask this question. What do you want your children to look like?
Okay.
Do you want them to be your image or shaped in the image of your people? Do you want them to be socialized as one of your people? That you have to ask that question, because if you do, then you need to find a Black woman that's abroad. I'm not saying you have to simp or pander to sisters and none of that shit. You present your case and they must get on it. That's the only way this is going to work. So if you have to go out and go into the fucking Pacific Islands, then do that. If you have to get a Malay chick or one of the Negritos or something, do that. If you have to go to the jungles of the Congo to find your wife, do that shit. Do not let anything stop you, and do not settle, because settling means death. That's all it is. If you don't want your children to look like you, then feel free to mess with the other Eurasian women. That's on you. Don't be surprised when people who did choose other Black women abroad do not accept your offspring. And they don't be surprised if they have to prove themselves greater than a person within the group. Because nothing is simple.
So again, this is Tony Garrison. Now, for those of you who are just joining in the chat, Tony Garrison, I got to put you on blast. He's 22 years old. And at 22 years old, he's not talking baby mama talk. He's talking legacy. That's just something to think about, because I know I wasn't thinking about that at 22. But we are now joined by the esteemed master teacher himself, BGS IBMOR. So glad to have this young man. Now he keeps talking about how old he is, but we know he's lying. He's probably, he's a young buck. He's a young buck. He got too much energy. And but anyways, we want to go over to BGS IBMOR. And we want to basically get his insight on what has been presented thus far. Now, I don't know how much of this that you have caught, BGS, but we're essentially talking about the domination of Black men in America. And the reason why we're bringing this topic up, this was something that Tony Garrison wanted addressed, as well as myself, definitely. But Tony Garrison really reminded me that the stream was needed and we needed to address this topic. But this topic is obviously something that you've heard before, and you probably are tired of hearing it at this point. But we're essentially trying to settle it once and for all, because, in my opinion, most men in all industrialized and civilized societies, or what you would consider by popular definition to be civilized societies, are in fact dominated. There are a select few individuals who control most of the resources, and by virtue of their control of the resources, most people are in fact, to a certain extent, and I use this term loosely, dominated by this small collection of men. And this actual domination, quote unquote, transcends cultural and ethnic ideologies and backgrounds and designations and affiliations. Now, there is a group of individuals, or a couple of groups of individuals, who are not dominated. But when we talk about these group of individuals, these are individuals who have isolated themselves from the rest of humanity. These are individuals who are deep within the Amazon forest. These are individuals who are secluded on North Sentinel Island.
Mm-hmm.
These groups of people are not dominated. But in order to not be dominated, they've foregone some of the creature comforts we've been accustomed to. They've shunned influence from outside forces. They've abandoned the development of technology for a simpler life, which has also put them at the mercy of all those around them, because even though they are free of quote unquote domination, if another nation wanted to take over those territories, it would be quite easily, they would be overwhelmed by superior technology. It wouldn't take a large number of people to do that. So BGS, what do you think about what's been said thus far? And again, thank you for joining us.
Well, that is true. And basically, I wouldn't even call it dominated. That's just the way human beings work, because the power lies in the masses.
Oh, can you say that one more time, BGS? Because I need everybody to hear what you just said.
I said, human beings work in a hierarchy, and the power actually lies in the masses. And the way a social hierarchy works is there are going to be people at the top that lead, and we agree to let these people lead as long as our lifestyle is accommodated. And when it isn't, we overthrow it. Look, there's countless versions of this where the empires have been actually overthrown and cut and basically put asunder because it wasn't serving the masses of people. So basically dominated, no. Led, yes. Dominated, no. It's an agreement. The reason that the United States, we're here in the United States or wherever, and we agree to these rules is because it works for us. When it doesn't work for us, it'll be overturned, no matter what color you are. But that's the way human hierarchies work. Even in small Sentinelese islands where they're free from the modern world, they have a chief. They have a council of elders that decide who's going to get married, who's not, and they agree to that. If that's dominated, that's the way human beings work.
That's very interesting that you put it like that, because now you're saying that even on a secluded island like North Sentinel Island, humans have even free from outside influences, right?
Yeah.
There's an intrinsic motivator for humans to coalesce in a hierarchy.
Yes.
Because perhaps human beings are more efficient with the command structure. Is that what you're saying?
That's the only way you can survive. If you can't, human beings are way too, physically too weak to be individuals in the natural setting. They would die. The only way we survive this for these millions of years is as a collective. And collectives always have what? A hierarchy.
And just to jump in there, because I know somebody's going to say, well, there's people who live off the grid by themselves, but the only reason why they're able to live off the grid by themselves is because of sacrifices of their predecessors who made technological advances within a society, because they coalesce and they work together with other people. Now this technology information is readily available, so now people can live by themselves. But in actuality, they're dependent on the sacrifices of those who came before them.
Yeah, of the group. Yeah, the culture, the cultural technology of the group allows them to actually live by themselves, because in their natural state they couldn't. They'd freeze to death. They go hungry. They wouldn't have tools, because anybody that lives off the grid, they carry the tools of the collective. So it is the way it is. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, man. We just in awe.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
That
So
yeah, you're right.
So when they, so when somebody says dominated, okay, sometimes as far as a group being being overtaken by another group, that it's just your turn. You know, for 700 years, the people that are so-called dominating us, they were, you know, they were actually under the foot of North Africans for 700 years. So it's a rotation, and pretty soon those folks that are in power now will be under the foot of Asians, East Asians, in another 30 years. I mean, that is the cycle of humanity. And the people that are spouting, you know, normally the group, your own group would not call you dominated because we're all in this together. And I put it in the chat about that particular individual. Said, what other group of women delight in their own men's downfall? And would you have those that group raise your boys into men?
Well, that's just the thing, BGS. They're not allowing the men to raise their boys. They're raising the boys on their own. So could it be that this group of dominated individuals is a direct reflection of the single mothers, perhaps in certain instances?
Well, it's this has been a feature of the Black community for a very long time. So it's not. It didn't just start here.
Okay.
It's something that we have carried forward in our culture. It's been passed down from mother to daughter since before we actually emancipated. And like any other culture, anything that's cultural, it depends on your environment. When they needed us to be that way, guess what they did? When Black women needed strong men to actually go out there and do the work and fight the environment, guess what they raised?
Strong boys.
They made strong men. I mean, you had single mothers back 50, 60 years ago could raise perfectly strong, independent men. How come they can't do it now?
Because of socialization and feminism and all that.
Because they don't feel the need to have them.
Yeah, you know, right.
When if you're out there on a farm and you know you're going to die without your men, what do? You raise strong men so that you do not die. You might not like it, but that's what you need. You have to raise strong, independent men. But the thing is that it has never really been part of our culture. You know, and I've said this over and over again. That's how come Frazier's book was banned for so many years, because he said it. He said Black women have never, ever, ever submitted themselves to Black male authority. He said that. He said it 100 years ago. So is it any wonder that when they don't have to, they don't?
Did he mean that in the history of Black people or just American Blacks?
When we talk about Black people, we're talking about American Blacks.
Okay. All right.
Coming out of antebellum, descendants of slaves.
Okay.
African people over the waters, they can tell you they don't have that.
It's true.
Okay.
I was just asking. Yeah.
So if you're going to call, when we talk Black, well, those people see themselves as who they are. If they're Igbo or they're whatever, they see them as who they are. They don't see themselves as Black. We're the only people that call ourselves Black because that's how we identify ourselves.
That's true.
But I've documented it. I've documented basically any book before 1950s. They've documented this stuff. It's not anything new. Du Bois documented this stuff. It's the same thing. Black women, when in the Philadelphia Negro, when the husband moved, got married to a woman and had kids, as long as he was working, he was fine. When he wasn't working, guess what happened to him? Did his wife keep him or did she put him out? She put him out. And it's basically culture does not change like that. If culture is passed down from mother to daughter. So basically you tamp it down because of the environment that you're in. So if you need strong men, like you're seeing it now, the women are starting to soften up. You see a lot more black women smiling. Why? Because the environment is changing. Our women are not more agreeable because that's in their nature. My women are more agreeable is because they have to be.
Mm.
So if you know how culture works, you know how people work, then you can predict according to the environment how people are going to respond.
That's a very, very good point right there.
So, you know, because I did it, I look like a magician, but no, it's a very simple equation.
For those of you guys that are just tuning in, this is a BGS IBMOR who has gracefully joined our panel here, and really has shed light on the topic and given clarity, to say the least. And I really appreciate BGS joining us now. He's really brought up some very interesting things, and I want to go over to M.O.T. and get M.O.T's insight. And while we're going over to M.O.T, make sure you guys hit the like button on the way in. I do appreciate all the likes that I got thus far because we've gotten quite a few. But if you haven't hit the like button, please do so at this time. M.O.T, we haven't heard from you in a minute.
Yeah.
What do you think so far?
No, I mean, what he's saying is pretty much true. My grandfather had a list inside of the house of the people who went out of the field and tried to do things outside the family, and the people who stayed in the field to do things within the family. And every single one of those people failed with 100% accuracy. Because being raised outside of that strong family unit, you are going to always fail eventually because you didn't have a strong backbone of people to depend on. And as more and more people was born into the family, that's kind of the thing that you saw. And it was pretty much born and like bred into me that you're going to have to see a lot of suffering because people can't just come back into the fold after they go mess their life up when they clearly had a choice beforehand. So when people talk about this, everybody get together and all that. No. We need to separate and be within the clans and groups of people who continuously work together. So that way you can see the people who clearly have not worked together. So when you hear people talk about this community and all this kind of stuff, the community that they talk about are not a community that you earned your way into. The community is what you kind of end up with after you have spent all your chances out. I know a lot of people who's not going to agree with that one way or the other, but it's just the way I was raised, and this is the way I see it. It's just that you can't have people who went out here, embrace feminism, embrace the single parent household, embrace never being on birth control, embrace destroying their actual children to come around and somehow retire and get them a decent man at the end of the day. We can't reward this type of behavior. I mean, it's just not tenable. And I don't agree with going to other lands and trying to build there. I believe in bringing the best of the best here and running up the damn scorecard into the people's faces who didn't build with us. That's the way things work other places. I know, BG.
Say what?
No, I know.
I mean, the thing is, M.O.T, I mean, unlike most of you guys are fairly young, okay? I've been in this game probably as long as most of you guys have been alive.
Definitely me.
Yeah, and after you know, it's like playing chess. After so many games, you hone into what the valuable pieces are and what the valuable moves are as compared to the rest of the world. Because a lot of times, what black folks do, you know, I've said this for the last 20 years, is black people think they exist in a bubble, and you don't. And a lot of what is in us, even the best of us, has been passed down, and especially to our women. And I listened to my aunts who were raised on farms, raised during Jim Crow. I listened to my mother, my aunts, and stuff like that. It's there. It gets tamped down because of what the needs are, but it is what it is. Here in America, bringing folks here, doing this, that, the other thing is, yeah, you can do that, but the thing is, you don't control the board. That's the problem. You don't control the board. You do not control the board.
Which board?
The board in the playing field that you're on, which is America.
Oh,
do we control the board?
I control my board.
No, you don't. Well, really?
Yeah, I've been doing it for quite a few years.
Really?
That's the thing about it, and there's no slight to BGS, but I'm just gonna say this.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I separated from the defeated to the victorious. I'm just gonna be for real.
Okay.
Because those who said you don't control your fate or your board, I'm like, okay, stand over there, take your soda and your chips, stand over there.
Mm-hmm.
And for the rest of us who are going to compete, this is why the successful upper echelon blacks and other blacks, this is why you don't see them trying to go to the community or really try to share game, because they're already dociled, where they believe that, see, only you can get Negroes to say that they're beaten.
I didn't say that.
So no, hold on.
I didn't say it. Well, don't.
But you said, but hold on. You just said you don't control your board.
Nobody.
Your board.
Okay.
Your board, right?
I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
When y'all use those victimizing talking points, that shit right there, I'm not gonna lie, it burns me up.
Why?
Because I'm like, damn, black man. Have you? It's like Denzel when he was getting whipped. He said, fuck it, I'm still steal that piece of bread from them white crackers. And I don't understand why. See, this is why, this is why when I talk to the younger brother, I said, why don't y'all listen to the older men? And they said, because those old niggas don't want to fight. They've been beat by the white man so much, they hold their head down, but they'll try to spit game to us, but they ain't do shit.
Well, okay.
If they didn't do shit, then how they gonna tell us younger brothers what to do?
Wait a minute, the Mo niggas did fight. It's on film.
Some. Don't say. Don't. Thank you. How you say that? Say some.
Look at how many riots there were between 1963 and 1973.
I think it's like how I think the Boondocks did it best with Granddad, where every time Granddad would always want to take the credit of what those out there were doing the work and say, yo, we was out there dying and fighting. And I'm like, well, shit. Well, what about you, Granddad? Then when they found out what Granddad was doing, Granddad was there, but then he was running behind people when they getting asked what. But then Granddad was telling the stories.
You know what? I don't like to compare young.
I mean,
folks.
but are we not gonna pretend like that ain't true?
No.
With the church and also the Black Caucus, they doing a lot of shit talking, but shit. Whenever it comes time for the blacks to actually, or the black men to eat, so they don't know us.
So what are you doing? Where are your candidates at?
Oh, where's my candidate? Oh, my candidate is already up in office. I mean, shit.
Where are your candidates? Where are your candidates? They can. The Black Caucus can be.
Oh, I don't fuck with those niggas. I know they ain't. You don't own them.
Can you let me finish?
Go ahead.
The Black Caucus can be unelected.
This is true.
Where are your candidates?
I can answer
the question.
No. Answer the question. Where are your candidates?
Well, my candidates are offered, but I mean, I'm saying y'all don't fuck with my type of candidates. Y'all don't fuck with my type of candidates. My candidates are sellouts.
Your candidates are sellouts?
Yeah. Y'all don't see me as a sellout, so that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm not saying
my type of candidate. I don't fuck with Negroes that use.
Where are you? I asked you a question. Where are your candidates?
Where are my candidates?
Yes.
Well, Tim Scott's still in office.
He's still in office. Okay. How about the rest of them?
No, I don't need the rest of it. I only needed Tim Scott, but I'm in South Carolina. The person I needed was doing what I needed.
You need all of them.
No, I don't need all. See, that's that monolithic shit where I say I need all. I don't need the ones that I need. Don't tell me what I need.
I didn't say
I got what I needed in there.
Okay, all right.
So let me correct you. I see that's the problem. Black men telling other black men what they need, but I got the tools that I need.
Well, then you got the tools. You have the tools that you need now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hold on. We got to address this. We're talking about the masses of black people, brother B.M.T. So we're talking about a whole revamp and removing
the whole code revamp.
There's always been individual black people just like you, even during slavery.
Now I got a question. Now, brother, you said a masses code revamp.
Yes.
Right? I'm gonna tell you right now. To save you, stop that ideology.
Why?
Hold on, bro. I got a caveat. I mean, a twist to that. When I say the masses, I mean more than 100 people. I'm not talking about all black people because I do believe
okay. I understand when you say masses.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm just saying when you say masses, sound like you're saying we shall overcome type of the Bojangling.
No,
and I'm
I
saying
say
you
some shall overcome. That's what I say.
Well, I mean,
but it's yeah.
BMT and everybody on the panel. This is the reason why I brought up the topic: are black men dominated? Because, as I said earlier, when we look at what defines domination, most people are subjected to rule from someone else. And for people to excel, for exceptional people to excel, there has to be a consumer base.
Exactly.
So you're able to prosper because somebody else has accepted being marginal.
Or you work within the system. You work within the system. Everybody works within the system.
Yeah.
Even high level drug dealers work within the system.
Yeah. And and again, like, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys, well, let me just say allegedly before I get a strike on my doggone channel. Allegedly, for those of you involved in that lifestyle, your quote unquote custies, even the strung out, dirty, dingy, stinky custies, you got to treat them with respect. Because without them, you don't eat. Yep. So everybody does play a role in the ecosystem. So because let me just go into this real quick because I'm gonna pass my guys. I don't want to get long, but I want to allow everybody on the panel to speak. But if you have a ruler, I want everybody in the chat to listen to this. You have a ruler. We'll say a yardstick, for instance. No, we'll just say a ruler. Keep it simple. We'll say a 12-inch ruler that you had when you were in grammar school. What gives that ruler its significance is not the hash marks on it, but the numbers associated with those hash marks. You have 1 inch and 1/4 inch and fractions thereof, 1/8 inch increments. And these increments are given value by specific numbers that range from 1 to 12. This is what gives it value. If you had a 12-inch ruler, but every hash mark was associated with the same exact number, say for instance that number was 4. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. That ruler no longer has significance because even though there's a difference between each individual number, when we look at one end of the ruler and the other end of the ruler, they have the exact same value. What gives that ruler value is that there is a 1, not just because there's a 12. That 12 only has its significance because you have the 11, 10, 9, and all the way down the line underneath, or has a lesser value than that 12. That's what gives that 12 value. See, that ruler, every number is important. No number is more important than the other. They all have a purpose. I'll pass the mic after that.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that there's a very old video. I wish I could find it, called Connections, right? And where he shows his very first show shows exactly how many little bitty pieces of technology and and people doing their particular jobs keep what we think of as a society or civilization working. And there's so many different points of failure in between that and this. That is actually amazing. Okay, everybody says, okay, I'm independent, I don't need anything else, until all of a sudden you have a banking crash, and 99% of people have what? Most of their money is electronic. What happens when that wipes out? Just snap of a finger. Banks close. Nothing runs. Or something as simple as what we're talking about during the shutdown. What happens one day when 50 million people don't get their food stamps? What happens to society? 50 million people don't get their food stamps, start rioting all over the country. And it's already shut down. There's nobody to get paid. There's no way to control these folks. What happens? The cascade effect.
Because we're all tied together inexplicably.
We're basically, you have 7.5 billion people, or almost 8 billion people, tied to a certain system, and that system has to work. If that system does not work, we don't cooperate in that system, it all falls.
Exactly. Like, even if one of us may rise to the top, there was a whole bunch of people that pushed him up there.
Basically, the reason that you can rise to the top is because there's a system underneath it. Even Bill Gates or whoever it is, their wealth resides in a system. If the system falls, everything falls. They don't have any wealth.
Unless you have wealth in another system.
You have a collective, whether you like it or not.
Well, so wealth is kind of like a pyramid. You know, the broader the base, the more stable it is.
The more stable it is, exactly. Basically, I mean, you know, I just watched 4 days of the richest people on the most powerful, richest people on the planet worry about this kind of stuff. They realize, as rich as they are, as powerful as they are, as much power as they have, they know that their power is fragile and it depends on the system. It's not independent.
Yeah, we're not shitting on you guys' accomplishments. We're just trying to put it into perspective. You know,
you mind if I hit the mic? I get you about to go on your theory.
No. It's not a theory, man.
Let me just help you. Let me just
go
with you.
Go ahead and help me.
Let me just go help you. My background is I'm on the Geechee in Gullah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I never agreed with the system that I was never a part of a system. That's the first foolish thing that you should always learn from. Now, I understand, again, like I said before BGS came on here, you as men, y'all need to start finding ways on how to wean yourself off of the system. See, the dope man is only powerful because you depend on his substance. If you wean yourself off of his substance, dope man has no sway over you when he dangles in your face, because you're like, well, shit, I don't need that shit anymore. I'm weaned off of it. You can't taste what I see. Those powerful men, they worry about it because they know that if this man ain't spending on my product or fucking with me, or he ain't angry and buying that shit to get back at a certain other brother, then guess what? He's not playing the game. This is why I told you, brothers, y'all need to learn how to take your fucking money from the goddamn gambling table and walk the fuck away. Invest. See, when I say these type of things, I know that every Negro ain't going to be saved and going to catch this message. That's why I say everybody ain't going to get the shit, bro. I'm not worried. That's what I'm trying to let a lot of y'all understand. Y'all need to learn how to take a step back. This is what me and M.O.T talk about on the congregation. Start investing in yourself. M.O.T, do you disagree with what I just said?
No.
M.O.T, you're a military dude, right?
We both are. You can
okay. Where have you been, M.O.T? Have you been in the shit?
What, like an actual war?
I mean, not fighting, but it actually been where systems have actually broken down.
Yes.
Okay.
I have.
You have too, right?
Yep.
Okay. What is it like when the systems break down?
Oh, it's pretty bad for everybody.
Pretty bad for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so you could take some place like Libya that was rich, wealthy, well-to-do, everything's working, and in 6 months it's in the shitter, right?
Yep.
And we're not Exactly what happens. So, so you tell me.
So, back to what I was saying.
No, you tell me.
No. I'm about to tell you right now.
Okay.
When we took out a doggone warlord,
Mm-hmm.
the people who lived on the outskirts of that were seen unfit to actually live within his town, what was a chaotic day in his town, it was another Wednesday for them because they were already remotely removed. They had their cattle. The fathers got up and went hunting. The sons make sure that the other boys went to school, and the mothers were out there at the river still washing clothes. And I looked at it and said, well, shit, y'all do know he's dead, right? Well, shit, I was never part of that damn system. What the fuck I give a shit for? And I was like, damn. And then my damn captain said, you know why I decided that it don't bother them? Because they never played the game. They never were out there in the doggone poppy fields working for him. Since they weren't working for him, they couldn't get affected when they started rummaging through the castle and all that other shit. They didn't care, but they said, yo, life goes on for me. Y'all gotta understand this, governments come and they go. There's a reason why the agents got their own goddamn banks, but they're like, yo, in case your banks fail, guess what, nigga? My bank gonna still keep on going. My bank ain't in your country. It's on another country. My shit network out there. There's a reason why you see the government trying to say, yo, we might need to work with China. See, y'all gotta understand. You gotta learn how to go a little bit cold. It's not easy overnight. I told you, I asked you men, how bad do you want out of the system? But if you want out, everybody doesn't want out of the matrix. I can't do it, man. This system, I belong to it. You got to put your money in. Well, shit, start investing. Go get some livestock. Go learn some trades outside of the bullshit. Go turn off that goddamn TV and go learn how to pick up a goddamn book and go do something. Shit, and honestly, I've already shown M.O.T. I can build a goddamn house. I got 5 of them bitches already ready to be sold. And they ain't fucking cheap. Motherfuckers need black men like me. See, but the thing about it is I make myself a quality candidate. And you see, that's the thing about it. I got to ask you black men. If you don't want to be domesticated or dominated, make yourself something that is needed by people. See, that way, if shit goes to shit, they got to understand, oh, well, what can you do? Well, I'm good on social media and YouTube. Get the fuck out of my face. What can you do? Actually, I know how to raise livestock. I have 3 horses, and also I have property, and also I can also lay down a foundation and fix cars. Hey, come on over here, bro. Come on over here. You see, when you can do shit like that, that means those are the people who get to benchmark and make new forms of society. And that's the thing I got to ask you, black men, because see, understand this. After that, when the country done fell from the Civil War, who was it that they predominantly needed in the workforce? They needed the blacks.
Did the country fall?
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did. Go read. I need you to go read again.
I did.
I'm telling you for right now. As a
no.
Let me tell you. Let me straighten you out. Let me straighten you out, black man. Let me straighten you out. Because why did they have to send black soldiers into South Carolina to go to Helena Island to go get the Geechee?
Brother,
why did they have to send us after?
Brother, the country did not fall.
It didn't.
No,
it didn't fall.
No, it didn't fall.
Where did you get that from? Tell me.
Do the United States still survive?
I got a question. Why did the North want the South so badly?
You want the real answer? You want the textbook answer?
No, give me your answer then. Give me your answer.
Basically, what it really was is that Lincoln had new territory, which was after the Mexican-American War and the Louisiana Purchase, right? He needed to build a railroad. Where was he going to get the money from?
Continue talking. Go ahead.
Basically, why did South Carolina decide to secede?
They didn't want to follow by Lincoln's rules.
Tariffs.
No. Continue on.
Tariffs. Basically, they had this long ass agreement that they had after 1928. They said the tariffs was supposed to only be 10%. Was it 5%? Something like 5 or 6%. because the tariffs had thrown the South into a depression like 3 or 4 times. The South said they finally had an agreement. Look, the old no taxation without representation. Look, you can't force tariffs on us, on the South anymore, because it throws us into the depression. So they finally made an agreement that the tariffs are only going to be like, I think it's like 8%. Okay. Lincoln needed to build a railroad. He needed money. So he raised the tariffs to 24%. And South Carolina said, we will not pay this. And Lincoln said, I will send troops down there to collect your tariffs. And so when they sent troops down to collect the tariffs, South Carolina seceded, and the other southern states started to secede too. So what did Lincoln say? I'm fighting the Civil War to keep the Union what? Together. That's why he did it. And that's why the Civil War started. And that's what they don't tell you in history books. Okay. And Lincoln was ultimately right, because you did need those railroads to link this vast territory together.
So that's what you was told, right?
No, that's not what you're told. You're told is to free the slaves, but that's not what's it. You can go read
ain't about no damn freedom, no slave. Let me tell you what I've been in combat for a long ass time. War is fought for money and control of power.
And power, yes.
Now let's be for real. Like when I was overseas, I wasn't looking for no fucking oil. I was over there in poppy fields, making sure to keep niggas in line.
Why were you fighting? Why were you fighting overseas? What was the real reason?
I would just told you I was keeping people in line.
Okay,
that's called domesticating.
Why did
that's all it was about? It was trying to keep people in line.
Actually, did you ever read the PNAC document?
Oh Lord, why I gotta read something when I'm actually doing it? I'm literally telling you, I'm not. Listen, the books and stories and news that you watch, you are watching stuff that I was doing.
My next door neighbor was an Air Force captain at the time. We said exactly the same thing. It was to keep oil from China. Ain't no poppy fields in Iran, are there?
I said Afghanistan, buddy. Afghanistan.
Ain't no poppy fields in Iran. How come Iran was on the books as far as being invaded?
It had resources.
What kind of resources?
They're going for their resources and their money. It's money. Listen, war is fought over money, man. I'm trying to tell you something. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, as the dude who went in and put a bullet in people's heads. I'm telling you. How you gonna tell me and read about what my story with me and my brothers did?
Do the generals tell you why you're putting a bullet in people's heads?
Actually, you don't have to tell me. I already knew. Let me tell you something right now. After so long, white people don't have to lie to you when they already know that shit. They already part of the dirt. So shit, you already just as dirty as me. When you sit with those brothers, when white men generally start drinking, they get really loose with their tongue. Hey boys, listen up. For God and country, we about to go down there and fuck up them motherfuckers. First, we're gonna rain down some fire. Then after that, whoever's still left alive, we're gonna shoot them up. I'm trying to let y'all know what the fuck I need to read about when y'all going over the time y'all went over the stories on C-SPAN with the shit that I did 2 days prior and then walked out.
You get what he's saying, bro.
No, he's not getting what I'm saying.
No. But see, the thing about it is, listen, y'all trying to tell me something about something. That's the thing about it.
Okay,
you going off stuff that you think you know. I'm telling you,
you went over to Afghanistan for poppy fields, really?
Yeah, and actually more, more.
Like what?
That ain't none of your damn business. But I'm not gonna incriminate some of my brothers.
It doesn't matter what you did. Okay?
But see hold on.
They said why they did it.
Who said why they did it? Who said why they did it?
The people that sent you over there.
Who said no? They told me. But you said you knew from an Air Force captain. The stuff that I tell you, you don't even want to agree to.
Dude.
So what would the Air Force captain tell somebody who never served with him the truth? I'm gonna tell you right. M.O.T. Do we tell civilians everything that we do overseas?
No. And people in the military routinely lie to people who's not in the military.
But they think that they know what we do.
Let's ask Charles.
What I'm saying is, hold a second. The people there are people that are in positions that have been in the military, offline, out of the sight of the public, will tell me I'm spot on. Okay.
Right.
And it's been more than once. Okay.
Right. Listen, we got a few white ladies who like coming inside the VA and writing books with shit that we talk about. I'm like, nigga, you know damn well that shit didn't go like that. I know, but it's gonna look pretty good when she writes it, right? Yeah, let's let her write that dumb shit. Like, I mean, honestly, I mean,
go ahead, man.
Y'all
Go
gotta
ahead,
understand. Listen, no, listen. They let you know what you think you want to know.
I have.
I mean, you don't have to. Calm down.
I have.
I mean, you thought you knew what we do, but you don't know. You outside of the loop. Just accept that.
It doesn't have to. I predicted this stuff.
You predicted. You ain't know shit.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
I gotta tell you what happened. What happened at Benghazi? What happened at Benghazi?
And what happened in Benghazi? You really want to know?
Yeah, you tell me.
You really want to know?
You tell me right now.
Christopher Stevens was transported. Actually, gun running. The weapons from Libya to Syria. Okay, that's what happened in Benghazi. He wasn't supposed to be there. He said he wasn't supposed to be there. And
that's what they told you.
It's in the documents, man. You don't have to look at this. There's people that are on the ground. Okay, well,
you know, it's crazy. I was 45 minutes from Benghazi, and I was pulling bodies out of Benghazi, and actually, I was on the mic with some brothers in Benghazi. So how the hell your story?
Why was he there?
They're giving you the civilian some shit that I'm the person that actually was there. See, that's why I like hearing some people who think they know what the fuck we do.
Why was he there?
That ain't listen, bro. If you are there, you don't need to know.
Well, then they already said why they know.
You got the.
They already said why they were.
Algorithm.
They already said why they were there.
If you have algorithm, why the fuck would you still be on YouTube if you know that they monitor your shit?
Why am I still on YouTube? Why am I still on YouTube?
I asked you the question.
Why am I still on YouTube?
If you know that they control that information, am I off what I'm saying with that? If we know that the white man controls YouTube and they monitor everything with keywords that we say, would that make any sense for somebody who knows the system to be because around the white people?
Do you want to know? Because it's public information.
Right. Okay. You think they're gonna publicly put that shit on?
They do every.
They trust blacks with that shit.
They do all the time. What is public information?
They trust blacks all the time. What? What?
Wait, okay, dude. What part of public information do you not understand?
Since when? That it's crazy. It's crazy. That's the same shit that they told us, Geechee, when they sent some blacks down.
What part of St. Helena
and said that they were here to help us?
Do you not understand? What part of public information do you not understand? It ain't hard if you look
public
for
information.
Yes,
public information. If we had public information, we'd have been to have Trump. The fuck you mean?
Anybody,
they know the shit.
Dude,
this is public information.
Stay on track.
We got our brothers out of incarceration.
Stay on track.
We didn't need goddamn prison reform.
Stay on track for a second.
No. I'm telling you. You saying public information?
It's called. What part of public information do you not understand?
Lord,
how you think the CIA gets half of its information?
Take your time.
Huh?
Go ahead.
How do you think CIA gets what? How do you think CIA gets half of its information? It's public information. All you gotta do is correlate it.
Well, I hope a lot of y'all take y'all doggone iPhones and break them up.
Well, maybe they will one day. Except one thing, they get too much information from them iPhones. They won't take them from you. Go ahead, M.O.T.
Dude, I mean, that's not how the CIA works.
Let them know, man.
Dude, they only declassify what they want you to know. Like, even I could tell you, I have a different version of Benghazi that I'm not even going to talk about because it's way different version than y'all two. And I wasn't even on the ground there. But it's just that they declassify what they want you to know.
Okay.
To fit their narrative. They're not going to tell you the truth. The government's not interested in telling the truth. It's just that they want to fit a narrative. I mean, as long as we allow advertisers to control news organizations who are actually defense contractors, you're never going to get the truth. That's the problem with this whole setup. But it's just that, at the end of the day, they tell a portion of the truth that people can digest. Why you think that we still have to wait another, 2018, another 6 years before we find out, quote unquote, what happened during the Kennedy assassination when all the people were dead? But that's the thing. You don't know until they tell you the whole story and if you can piece it all together. And if they even tell you the truth at that point. It's just that you never know what's going on. You don't.
Well, in all honesty, right? The truth is circulating amongst the lies.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter because most people don't want the truth. The people that do want the truth don't know how to sift through the misinformation that's put out
exactly
in parallel with the truth anyway.
Exactly.
What really matters is the underlying concept, in that the wars that are fought, the excursions, the governmental destabilizations that occur, speculation on the stock market, none of this is done for our particular benefit, and I mean for men of the diaspora. That's the only thing you need to know, that none of this is done for our benefit. We only benefit by constantly.
Basically, Tony, what's going on in Venezuela? When did we talk about that? It's about a year ago, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Didn't we say they were going to try to invade a year ago?
Yeah.
Well, I heard you talking.
What's going on now?
I mean, that's one of the things you were right about, actually.
There's a lot of things I was right about.
No, I'm just saying specifically what I heard. I mean,
you heard that, but I said that because they were trying to get off what? The dollar, right? They're trying to get out from underneath the SWIFT system. Remember?
Yeah.
We're talking about Bitcoin. They were actually announcing their new Neuro, right? The Petro, right?
So far, so good.
I mean, did the CIA whisper in my ear that they were actually going to do this? It's basically easy to figure out. It's not hard.
Here's the thing. And you know what? I do apologize to the chat because they deserve a good show. But I'm gonna tell y'all, like I learned, it's about consumer base and consumption. When the thing about it is, the main reason after slavery, first thing that they set up, and I mean, shout out to Information Man. He clapped on that. I know I clapped on that with M.O.T and LAR and a few other brothers. The first thing they set up was black codes that automatically put black people right back into a form of incarceration. They were not allowed to do things. They were not allowed to actually take part in certain things. Actually, the blacks were so badly domesticated, they didn't even know that they were free. So by the time some of them even found out, they said, oh, wait, well, guess what? If you want this job, we got to take your kids, and we're going to take them away from you. Again, the same systems that were used back then are being reinvented and being brought up today. And the thing about it that the South had that is being redone right now, this is why they're fighting so hard to get illegals in here. And honestly, this is the reason why powers that be are trying to get illegals in here right now, because they understand that, you know what, that illegal is going to come in and they're going to work, because we can't get these niggas to act right anymore. So we need to go get some people who are going to come in and work, and they're actually going to just compete. But the thing about it that is the unforeseen is that, you know, some people are like, no, I don't want to give up my job. Well, shit, that ain't up to you. Government shutdown. I'll starve your ass out. If I starve your ass out, I bet you're going to cooperate with me then. There's a reason why tax season's back open again. And I can tell you that, but I want some of y'all to actually understand that. That's how they can control it. It's like a water valve. I control when I want to give you something, and then I shut it off. I've seen it done before. You starve out the village. You let some people out so that the way they'll be happy. That way they can bring back some water. You say, guess what? Now I control your water supply to the river. You want some water? You're going to work with me. If you don't want to work with me, I'll keep this bitch closed. You got, and I mean, being realistic for some of it. I mean, if y'all never lived and see poor in the South like me and M.O.T grew up in the mud, y'all truly don't understand that. I mean, shit didn't really change after the years.
Like Shreveport, Louisiana.
Well, he lives in Mississippi. I believe they got the brown. What's that lining called? The brown line that literally like poverty just drops. I got it right now in South Carolina. People, you know what they're trying to do right now? They're trying to buy my people, my ancestors. They're trying to buy our property. Now, in that case, what that would mean is that my people have dissociated themselves from, you know, most of society on some stuff. Some of my people don't even know what the fuck a phone is. I find it very interesting. The phone that they do go use is at the fucking it's at the church. It's at the church. Now, honestly, the problem with that is One guy said these illegals aren't our friends. Yeah, I agree with you, brother. These illegals aren't your friends because they're not coming here to work with you. They're coming here to understand that they're coming here to replace you. You're going to be replaced.
They're coming here to survive.
Okay, y'all keep saying that.
They are.
Okay. You see, that's the thing about it, that those talking points where they say they're coming to survive. Yeah, you're right. They are survivors. But they're not coming here to say, hey, black man, I come in unity and peace to come work with you.
Yeah, we know.
We didn't say that.
But don't be saying they come here to survive. Then what are you going to do? What are you doing?
I'm not saying I'm an amoral pragmatist. I state facts.
Okay,
I don't moralize things.
Okay, so when y'all so the thing about it is this. Because like I said, oh yeah, your girlfriend was an illegal immigrant. Shout out to that, man. I'm glad she, I guess made it.
I live in Los Angeles. There's tons of them.
I'm sure y'all do. We see how bad it is in California right now.
Yeah, actually, California is very wealthy.
It's bad for us, but good for others.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, make sure you clarify that.
Middle America is the one that's sinking. California is very wealthy.
Okay, no, okay.
Look at Chicago.
For who?
How are black people doing in California? I live in California. I'm in Northern California.
You would basically. How
are we doing?
Yeah, I'm about to say, how are they doing?
Black people are not doing well in California. We're marginalized out, and you got these. Look.
Thank you, Info, for keeping that shit real.
I work in the prison system. You got the Mexican mafia that's got a green light on black folks in California. Yeah. They want us out of these areas like you have where you're at, brother BGS. We are not faring well in California.
We got some good news though, because the Chinese are pulling their money out of California real estate, so they will open it up. Because the VAT,
does that mean they're going to start working with blacks like that?
Can I finish my thought, please? Can I finish my thought?
Go right ahead, brother.
Thank you. Basically where a lot of the money was actually coming from, that actually driving up the prices, is not illegal aliens. It's actually from the Asians, specifically the South Koreans and the Chinese. The Chinese own half of Orange County. If they own like a third of Los Angeles, so if they pull in money out, that means that the value of the homes will drop. That means my children can actually afford something, because the value of California real estate is as high as New York, damn near.
Yeah, but I'm talking on ground level, brother. I lived in Oakland, lived in San Francisco for years. Black folks are becoming non-existent in San Francisco. We're being displaced in Hunters Point, Potrero Hill, because they're
why is that?
Buying it. And in Oakland, I think the black population in Oakland has dropped to about 25%, and
because you can't afford to live there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we have a lot of white people that can't afford to live there either.
Exactly. But what I do notice, brother BGS, is that there's no shortage of Hispanics or Mexicans or whatever you want to call them. There's no shortage of them in Oakland, and what they also do, and I must say this, is that they not only, when they come into these communities, they also bring their problems with them that impacts black people. So when you get all those folks across the border who want to get in here, who do you think they're going to try to live with? They're going to move into our neighborhoods, push us out. Our taxpaying dollars go on our lingual language. Look at San Diego, how their school district is being impacted by the illegals that come over the border.
Why do you think that is? Is because you are not producing what?
Well, we're not producing for ourselves.
No. Because I had this discussion with my cousin, because she's a counselor in San Bernardino, a school in San Bernardino, right?
San Bernardino.
Yes, in the Inland Empire, right?
Yes.
And I think she said 65-70% of her students were Hispanic, and I think a quarter of them were illegals, right? Illegal immigrants. And she said she was tired of the illegal immigrants being in her school. And I said, and she said, and a lot of them said, we don't know if we're going to come back because of what the laws we're actually going to pass, right?
Right.
And she was mad at me. I said, you better hope to God that those kids do come back. She said, why? Because you won't have a school, baby. If those kids do not come back, they will shut your school down because there's not enough children to support them.
That's right, because they go by the numbers of children. Each child is
children. In other words, there's layers upon layers why these people come over. Now, what I would like is both sides, because everybody's in on this bullshit, to actually pass just like every other country, have a very solid, conscientious, logical immigration policy, which they don't, because they take advantage of these people. So if every illegal alien, because they already know where they are, because the Social Security knows where all the illegal aliens are, because they all have to have a Social Security number.
True, but
and half of them are false.
The thing that I'm concerned about the most, OBGS, is what happens on the ground. See, we can talk about the policies as much as we want. The tangible things that are happening on ground, how people are being impacted in these communities. Let's just be honest, we don't get. There's no black and brown correlation. We don't get along.
Wait, hold up,
and basically in the next 5 or 6 years, that's not gonna matter.
And their gang element, the gang element that they bring specifically in California, it is impacting black people. I've seen this firsthand. So that's why I'm saying the people that are going to be the most impacted by these groups of coming in here is going to be black folks, us, and we're also being hurt. Also, as a group, when they come over here and they establish themselves, they're almost doing better than us. I looked at some numbers on this. They're actually getting to the point where they're doing better than us in housing, and things of that nature, and moving themselves up the ladder. Black people, we are. I don't like to sound like cloud and doom, brother, here, but we are really. We get outside of our entertainment and all that stuff that we get ourselves involved in. We really need to wake our asses up.
But that's not what keeps me up at night, though, because the immigrants aren't the problem. It's the machines that are coming. That's the problem.
Transhumanism is coming.
Automation, bro. Right now,
it's all of it. All of it's coming for our asses.
But the thing is coming from everybody around the world. And the thing is, that is the transition we need to worry about, and that's the transition we need to focus on, because that's coming. Because if it's somewhere at some point, they're going to force the illegal aliens out because they won't need them anymore.
Okay,
I agree. And that's what I was alluding to. Like, we understand what you brothers are saying, and this is a background knowledge we already got. So we've been talking about this shit on YouTube and on other platforms for years, since the 90s. So we understand what you guys are saying. What we saying is that some of this other stuff is caused by policy, because the only reason the Dreamers and the illegals got in here was because of a 2001 policy. Cerulean did a whole show on it. And broke it down. So I mean, we get what y'all saying, but we trying to say, hey, look at this. This is another element. Fuck the Latinos, man. We in this on our own.
Yeah, the biggest Russian Latinos were basically under number one under Reagan, and right after NAFTA. They actually destroyed the Mexican economy, and basically forced these people up into the country.
So what you're saying, in a nutshell, is that we got automation coming down the line to the point where they may not need physical labor anymore. People that come from across the border who really bring nothing more but their physical labor. They'll become obsolete. And if we as black people don't get ourselves on top of this automation, computers, all the technology that's coming down the pipeline that's here and coming, we're going to be outdoors too.
Basically, it's going to come to a crisis. They're going to have to figure out what they're going to do with you.
Let me click on that real quick. Let me help you out with that before I have to go. I just want to say this.
Okay.
If y'all think that the illegals are going after pretty much the lower tier jobs like that, you're sadly mistaken.
More or less, yeah.
They move up the chain.
I want you to understand. I want you to hear this right now, because, like I said, I was in Springfield just last year. And one of the things about it that blew my mind was I went into, Bank of TD Bank, and I was like, okay. I said, damn. Like, for a few seconds, I just sat in the back, while my sister was up there. And I got quiet and I listened. And English stopped. And the whole fucking bank was speaking Spanish. Hell, I even looked at my sister, and my sister was speaking Spanish. I said, "You a nigga? Why the fuck are you speaking Spanish?" She was like, and after that, she said, "Joe, let me just talk to them real quick. Hold still." And then after that, I said, okay, that's pretty interesting. So Now, when I was in the 80s, Springfield, Massachusetts was predominantly white, and it had black. You might see a little spin of some, Asians. Now, when we in the 2000s, it is predominantly Latino based. That's some white. The whites, they moved out. They say fuck Springfield. Y'all niggas can have this shit. We're gonna go to the country. We're gonna move to the upper Northamptons. I'm like, okay, so y'all moved out. Now, for the problem that is going on is blacks, we're not competing to get higher tier jobs. This is something that M.O.T talked about. You black men, y'all need to get off your asses right now. Y'all need to get yourself on trade school jobs, because like I said, when I took a picture on Facebook and I was being funny, but there was a meaning behind the picture. In McDonald's, there were no cashiers. There were machines.
Yeah.
I want y'all to understand this. I want y'all.
You're right. How long did I post that video, Tony? How long ago did I post that video?
A minute.
Now,
about over a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Now, the thing about this was the foresight was the first big rush that I'm talking for us Negroes that hurt us was the cotton gin machine. That was one of the biggest things that hurt the black man. Okay. Now, I want y'all to understand, for every time there comes a new innovative of society, black people, y'all get pushed back under a bigger hit. I know one of my friends, he did a video on Skid Row. I'm not sure how many of y'all ever been to Skid Row, but he did a video.
Skid Row where? Which
in Chicago?
Chicago where?
Oh, in LA. He did a video.
They're down there all the time. So go ahead.
Now he did a video out there and doing a video, and while he was actually trying to bring and shed some light out there, he got stabbed twice.
Yeah, well, did he go down Skid Row? Was it at night?
No, he actually did it during the day. He actually did it. So he got stabbed.
Okay.
Trying to shed some light of just how bad.
Oh, he walking through there with a camera. Okay, all right.
Now, as he was talking about it, well, of course he's recording.
Yes, yeah. You will get stabbed for that down in Skid Row.
Now the thing about that that he was trying to show was that the people that he was filming, all their stories will line up. One lady was saying, "Listen, I used to work for the welfare office. I used to go to school. I was doing this." Now the thing about it, while he was doing the live, he was like, "All these people," he said, "Where didn't y'all have money? Did y'all save up?" He said, "Shit, like we got pushed out. Government housing got changed up. Doggone things dropped from under us." I want you to understand, the middle class is dissipating. The richer. Now, when y'all say California's getting rich, and then the question that was asked by a lady, I forgot her name. I know her name is Rodriguez. She said the gap is getting so big. She said she thanks God that her mother pushed her to go be a doctor, because she said the gap is getting so huge. And me and M.O.T usually do a show with Nicole Diaz, and she's far removed for understand how black people are. But one thing that is very sure is that you black people, we're taking too many goddamn losses right now. Y'all can say that we up there with them, but y'all can say we got the richest state. But I got a question. Are y'all with the rich? Because they don't have no problem shooting your ass under the goddamn bus at the moment of leisure. They already proved that with Kevin Hart. They already proved that with a few athletes. When they need time to bring up your dirt and put you back in their place. This is why I say you can't try to play their game and try to think you're going to fight fire with fire. Nah, you got to go get some bigger firepower, or you got to go get your own shit. There's a reason why you don't hear about certain blacks when they do certain stuff. By the time you figure out, oh, when the hell did we get these blacks that had this type of money? Well, that's because they never said anything. They're not trying to. They're not trying to, because they say, yo, I
know quite a few of them.
They said, if I tell you all, like I said, I let people think what they think about me or what they say about me. But by the time it's too late, I'm like, okay, say what you got to say. But at the end of the day, we're going to see who's still living throughout the battle. I'm not like, I want you to understand, under no pretense I have any arc against BGS. He's a very smart intellectual man. I have no arc against any of these men. This is just us as men talking. Only thing, like I said, there's always different sources of the story. The ones who went through the storm. Because if I honestly put my grandma on here and I put my great aunt is 109 years old. Thank God she's still alive. But if she tell y'all what happened during the civil rights era, y'all be like, what the fuck? That was never on the goddamn book. But y'all ain't gonna know, because you don't write the history books. Who writes the history books? Information, man. Who writes the history books?
It's called his story.
Yeah, but the thing is, the difference is, my mother lived through it. She lived through Jim Crow. She's still alive. I talk to her all the time. I asked her, where was it better before or after? That's all I need to know. She lived in Shreveport, Louisiana, one of the reddest racist states
I believe it.
in the country. Okay, all my aunts did.
Yeah, same with mine.
I don't doubt you.
My mother's 80 years old. My father's 82. Okay.
Now,
the reason. Hold on. Let me finish. The reason that I live in Los Angeles rather than Dallas, Texas, is because of a Dallas policeman told my father he needs to find someplace else to live. I seen it up close and personal. I lived through this shit. I know the difference. I know the difference. I grew up through this shit. I know the goddamn difference. You don't have to tell me about the civil rights movement. I know the goddamn difference between then and now. I lived through it. So what are you gonna tell me?
I'll tell you something.
Go ahead.
I'm about to say I could tell you.
Go ahead, tell me. You didn't live through it. I know you didn't live through it, but tell me.
Well, I didn't live through it, but I'm not a young chickadee either. But
are you 60 years old?
I'm not 60, but I'll be there soon. But I'm not questioning what you just said. But basically, what I'm about to say is reinforcing what the brother said earlier. We need to be. Remember that book, The Spook to Set Next to the Door?
Set by the Door. Yes.
Set by the Door. I think the brother's right. I think we as Black people, we speak too goddamn much about what our plans are instead of being more covert about it, more military strategy, as you brothers would like to say. Need to be more secretive. Like a secret society, you know, a lot of Black folks criticize Black secret societies, but I think we need more of them to do things in secret and then have a game plan as to where we want to go. So I don't care if people may think, oh, this is if they think that you're like a softy Black person, whatever, let white folks think whatever they think of you, while at the same time you're doing stuff that's improving yourself and your people.
So Tony's been on with me after hours, okay, after the stream shuts off. That's not public. How much of this shit that we have talked about has been accurate, Tony?
Very accurate. We discussed plans. So I mean,
plans.
You're definitely right.
Basically, I've been doing this shit. I've been doing this shit since 92.
92.
Since fucking 92. All right. I've been studying this shit since 92. Basically, I studied on a whole bunch of people, including Craig Fuller, who is tied to the DOD, who does work for people off the books, who does work for security, quote unquote, security firms, right? If you that M.O.T, you know what I'm talking about when I say security firms, right? Yeah. Okay. Who does this? That's who I was trained under. Okay. This is not something. Basically, the reason I put stuff out ahead of time is so that you can't say that I don't know shit, because I told you what happened before it even happened.
Yes.
Now, like Donald Trump, I told you he would win before it happened. When everybody thought Hillary Clinton was going to win, I told you she wouldn't be president. I told you that.
Let me ask you this question. What are your thoughts right now? I think it's a shoo-in that he gets a second term.
Yeah, he has to survive. Well, number one, okay, you can't really tell to 2020 because because the groundwork, because this particular guy is so off the rails, you have no clue what he's going to do next.
But one thing I know is about Trump, even though I don't like him, BGS, he's a survivor, man. This guy knows how to survive under.
He is lucky, and hopefully his luck holds out.
There's no such thing as luck. It's just called survival.
There is luck.
That's why that term. He's
lucky
survivor in some case, but and if
anybody that's been in battle knows that there's an element of luck. You just happen to be the one dude that out of a whole platoon that got wiped out. There's 6 of you that survived. Was that fortune? Was that knowledge, or you just happened to be in the right place at the right time?
I don't know.
Basically, I talked to veterans from freaking World War II all the way up to freaking Desert Storm. My brother was in the beginning of the last fucking Desert Storm before he retired. Okay, I talk to these people all the time. All right, it's not something I didn't serve, but the thing is, I learned how to read tea leaves. Okay, And I've been reading the tea leaves for a very long time.
That's good.
There's a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of tea leaves I don't talk about in public.
You know, in the time that I sat there and worked with OPSEC, and I always used to love sitting there back when you remember when Yahoo was a thing? I used to love sitting there and reading those disclosed case files from those crazy old batshit dudes. Then after that, I started seeing the blacks start to write their case file. Now, honestly, there was this one dude, there's this one black dude, he's a soothsayer, but he's dead now. And literally, he predicted every goddamn thing. I read up his file. You know what I'm saying? We sat there at the old folks' home with him when he died. I sat there with him when he died. And I would honestly tell you, like I said, government pays me to stay quiet. Y'all niggas can never get me to give up my shit. But I'm gonna tell you, no, you're right. They don't want you to. Like, it's like this is the thing. This is the thing about it.
Because you'll get me in trouble.
Like the thing, like here's the thing about it. Like my granddaddy I said, Granddaddy, why don't the Masons ever help the black community? Like y'all know, why y'all have all this knowledge? Y'all have the black community. He said, son, let me tell you something. He said, if the prophets already told them the truth and they stared there in their face and just said amen, rather than get up and go grab a gun or a knife and take care of what they were supposed to do, then why the fuck would we tell them the truth? Now, this is my granddaddy. He was a Freemason. And now I said, Granddaddy, that don't make no sense. But then I understood as I became older and became a man. And I understood that the Negro does not want to fucking wake up. He don't. Yeah. When he's been given a chance to waking up, he don't. He said, nah, fuck that. Because if I wake up, that means I have to actually deal with this shit. I got to deal with this shit. So we like I said, there's no victory in talking about things anymore. There's no victory in talking about stuff about, like I said, before I came on YouTube, I was talking on conservative talk radio. I was already on radio. The problem was I didn't control conservative talk radio. I was on Kelly Goldwyn 94.3 WSC. I was talking on there. I was helping out with controversial talk. But the problem was the issue was when they were talking about Dylan Roof, they didn't tell the whole truth. There was a different other story that we talked about. Everything didn't come out how it was supposed to come out. And the thing about it, I understood this is if you don't control the media or the narrative, you don't control shit. Because if you would, honestly, let's be for real, Super Trash would have said just one key word. If I wanted really to get this video shut down, I know the certain words I gotta say, and this video will get flagged, shut down. Now that you know, brother, Super Trash, I ain't gonna never do that for you, bro. You know I ain't gonna never do that. But see, that just shows you. That just
how many of my hangouts have been shut down, Tony?
Well,
a bunch.
That's the thing. I'm never gonna shut down. I'm never gonna shut down a brother who's coming up. I'm never gonna do that. I mean, for some brothers who've been doing it for a while, that's fine. But for videos that I have watched up one day and gone the next, and then I saw one of your videos that got flagged. I saw that. Because when you start knocking on certain doors, if they really wanted to shut you down, which I've already sat in the press conference on for Google for that. A lot of y'all niggas gonna get shut down. Now you already know if y'all on that doorstep, you already know who y'all are. And the thing about it, let's be for real. I better start having some information or start showing your source of your fucking work. But if you don't do that, at least if the white man says it and you throw his shit out first, they can say, well, get that man first before you come at me.
Do I show sources?
Well,
we do indeed.
Well, we do.
Are my sources public?
To my knowledge, yes.
And the thing is, I don't always source American sources. Basically, like Richard Pryor say, you tell a lie, I tell another lie. We actually compare each other's lies. Basically, that's what I do. I've been doing it for 20 years.
But you know,
so somebody will tell a lie, and another person will tell the truth to counter that lie.
Now you sounding like real brother radio now.
Yep, the truth now.
The difference is he doesn't have sources and I do.
And he's crazy.
That's exactly right.
I publish my sources all the time.
In fact,
you're not a schizo too.
Basically, I have a whole group called the Black Brain Trust to do the exactly same stuff that I taught them to do, and they show all their sources and all their links the whole time. It's not.
Yeah, I get emails from those brothers, and I go over there every now and then. I got to get them on my platform. I like what those brothers are about, BGS. So
they're doing the same thing that I used to do 15 years ago as when we started. The exact same thing. And but basically, if you I should find the article. It's called the rise of the amateur think tanks that CIA actually published out, because people like us at the time, and it was like 2007, were published that there's a lot of people, a lot of groups like us that had time, and because of the internet, because of Google, because of the internet, you could source stuff like they did. They talked about the rise of the amateur think tanks. We're an amateur think tank. That's what the Black Brain Trust is. So basically, I was actually forged under the fire of a black think tank. And the thing is, you're only as good as your track record, and our track record was very, very good. Very, very well. In fact, you notice the Italian, the Italian. One of the Italian ministers of parliament talking about how France is actually looting the wealth from Africa, from their colonizing Africa, and looting their wealth, and causing the immigrants to come over to their country. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember seeing that just a couple of weeks ago? We said that shit 10 years ago. Exact same thing when nobody was talking about it.
What's the old saying, brother? If you don't understand history and what's happening around you, you're doomed to repeat it if you don't understand what has happened in the past. And I think I think that's one of the problems today, is that a lot of people, especially a younger generation, no disrespect to anybody, I don't know if they have a great sense or understanding of history.
They don't,
and that leads to really foolishness down the line, because you need to know what has happened in the past, because people think that what's happening now is something new, like you said. And it's like, no. We've been here, done this before. This is nothing new.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Go ahead, brother.
The funniest thing is that, being an amoral pragmatist, you have to accept the truth no matter how distasteful it is. And most people, the tooth. The thing is, nobody wants to accept that Lincoln sacrificed almost 700,000 lives to build a fucking railroad. But the thing is, he wasn't the first. Well, you learned that he wasn't the first. China. Well, basically, if you look at Russia, what their transcontinental railroad they built, they cost them about 10 million lives. When China did it, it cost them another 10 million lives. When you see how the world works and how these systems are built, if you look at 600,000 lives in the Civil War, it was actually quite cheap. What Lincoln did.
And this is why I wanted to piggyback off of what Brother B.M.T said. Number one, thanks for coming on. But he said, something to the effect like, we don't really have time to teach people. And to a certain degree, he's correct. But on top of that, there's some people who are just waiting for one piece of information that can take them into the next reality. And they'll be the next Malcolm X or the next M.O.T. And by that thing that they heard on BGS or on Infoman or B.M.T or whatever, that will allow them to grow and to turn into that M.O.T. and benefit the community. So we have to, look at it in both perspectives. Yes, we have to cut the chaff, but we can't cut too much fat or the cow's going to die. You know what I mean? So it's a mix of things.
Nicole Ali.
Here real quick. Sorry to cut you off, BGS.
Go ahead, all right.
I definitely got to shout out the donation I received. Of course, I already went over the super chat. We got several people that super chatted, and I want to thank all of them. But I also just got a PayPal donation from Mr. Wayne Lester. Wayne Lester, thank you for that PayPal, that very generous, very, very generous PayPal donation. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. And again, to the super chat donators, Dr. Ford, Neon Eyes, Gap Talk Media, Moses Jenkins, Arain Knights, who donated twice, and Frogbox. Thank you all again for your super chat donations as well. Thank you. Go ahead, BGS.
No, I was just thinking. I talked to Nicole Ali for my women's channel for 3 hours, man, and all the stuff, all the technology that I was reading from the World Economic Forum, like the artificial womb and the brain implants, all that neural implants, all that kind of stuff. She confirmed. She absolutely confirmed because she does that stuff. The thing is, this stuff is happening. It's here. It's going to get released. It's going to accelerate, just as they said, because there's competition. So basically, you know, I tell black folks, especially because you guys are my folks. Kansas is getting ready to go bye-bye.
Hey, BGS, let me ask you a question because I'm going to be doing a video on this, on a series that I'm going to be doing. As you know, in some of these European countries, they are submitting themselves to being microchipped in their hand with the ability to be able to take their hand and open up cars, pay their bills, so that you don't have to worry of a card. It's all in your hand to do all your transactions, banking, what have you. And the people, some of the folks over there, they're more than happy to do it. And what do you think in terms of America, where we're going with that here? Or because I tend to believe when you look at the younger generation, they're so focused on looking at their cell phones. They have more relationships with machines than they do people. People don't talk to each other anymore. Those interpersonal skills are at an all-time low. Is that in a way sort of culturally conditioning the next generation, maybe not us, to be prepared for what's coming down the pipeline, which is microchipping? Surrendering yourself to a police state type system, because they're doing it in China too.
Before you respond to that,
go ahead.
BGS. Like, listen, let me tell y'all something. Y'all in the chat, y'all about to get PayPal shut down. All these damn donations.
Oh, good for you. I'm glad, man.
AM1 over here, you know, AM1 on vacation, and he popping his collar. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's more of a business vacation, but he's still popping his collar. You know, he got handmaidens, housekeepers,
I heard that,
and
living his best life, huh?
Siders and personal chefs. He over there doing it big, and he just showing some love. You know, on the PayPal tip. I really appreciate the donation from AM1. Thank you.
All right, support everybody. Yeah, support the channel. Salute the channel. No, basically
BGS. I'm sorry.
The biggest thing right now is facial recognition. And that's the stuff that they don't need a chip anymore, really, because AIs and facial recognition and cameras are really all they need. And that, in fact, there was one case, I can't remember where the case was, where it was in Florida actually, where a guy actually got actually arrested and charged because they sent his face through a database recognition. Basically, they picked him out of wherever, right? So basically, that is your next, what you want to call it, your next form of system. As far as chipping, they really don't. Chipping is for basically humans 2.0, when you actually neural chips actually implanted into the babies. That's the next step, but that's like 30, 40 years away.
Okay, let me bring something else up.
Not my kids. Fuck that.
Because I work in psychology. They're saying that they've done some studies with microchips where, you know, how people get depressed, they're feeling down, that they can put something in your brain like a chip that can give you euphoria, make you feel better, make you feel less depressed. Now, if they can do that, who's to say they can't? And I think they already been doing it anyway. What you call mind control. Why can they not suggest in people's brain to do sort of negative things like go kill somebody, things of that nature? Some of the stuff that you see in movies, which I believe the movies are reflecting reality of what they can do or where they're pushing us. What are your thoughts about that? How dangerous that could be?
They've been doing it for years. They've been doing it with microwaves. They've been doing it with other kind of things. I mean, basically the literature is replete with that kind of stuff. Drugs. The biggest folks that are actually dangerous as far as killing people, folks, are the people on those SSRIs. Those are the people that snap and actually go out and murder, 50, 60 people at a time, or walk into a theater or a church or something like that, start mowing people down. And those are the people that are actually dangerous, because those people are unpredictable.
But because when people ask the question about, how this will resonate here in the United States, obviously there's going to be some people who are going to be okay with it. There's going to be people who are going to push back with it. But as Tony Garrison had this conversation before, at some point in the future, maybe 300 years, maybe.
Oh, no, not less than that. 300 years, hell no. What you talking about?
I'm talking about as far as like aesthetic. There's going to be aesthetic difference where we won't even be able to recognize.
No, that's 60 years.
See, now you see, because at some point in time, people are going to realize that as much as they try to resist the change that's coming, if they don't accept the change, they won't be able to compete.
Yeah, basically, when I say humans 2.0, basically they're going to be already pre-connected to the internet. They're going to have a higher memory capacity, higher brain capacity. In other words, what you see in the Matrix, where they can download a program and have an ability, that's what's going to happen to these folks. So basically, you're going to be obsolete.
But check this out: our kids, they will accept this programming, BGS, because if you look at young people today, what are they very stimulated by? Video games, interactive activities.
Yeah.
So you're already training the younger generations to be comfortable with what's coming down the pipeline because they've been conditioned by it by all their life.
Well, the thing is, we're talking about here. Okay. Let me ask you a question. In competition, say China and India, or even Russia, or Germany, who's open to this stuff, right? Say they start producing human 2.0s and they're whipping your ass. What's America gonna do?
Gonna do the same damn thing.
Same damn thing, because it's competition. That's what's
competition. Right. Yep. The survival of the fittest, right?
Survival of the fittest. Either you compete or you get left behind. Go ahead, M.O.T. What are you gonna say?
No, I'm saying that any third world country can come, quote unquote, online with one update and be smarter than everybody in America and be on the same page with this particular program that you're talking about, without a jump in technology. Let's say that there's a jump in technology that shortens it to 7 years or 3 years. Everybody's going to want to do the same thing to stay on top. So y'all need to be able to stay at.
The only difference is, in fact, this is going on the continent as we speak. The only difference is that yes, you can make some leaps in technology, but the thing is, what's the biggest thing that separates the first world from, say, the developing world, which is infrastructure. You got to have infrastructure, and that takes time to build.
Yeah, now they're talking about the 5G networks, and what they're talking about. I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with it, but currently we're on a 4G network, and so the transition to 5G. In order to make all of this happen, you need a faster internet, right? In order to relate the massive packets of information that's going to facilitate different electronic components to communicate with one another.
Self-driving cars and that kind of stuff, yeah.
And so part of that process is the implementation of what is called the 5G network, and which at some point in time in the future, I would imagine will transition to 6 and maybe even 7G. You know, depending on how able our human bodies are able to handle it. What I say by that is because the 5G essentially you have these extremely high frequency waves that carry these packets of information. And, you know, just like with anything, like say for instance AM versus FM. AM, as we know, travels a lot further in the atmosphere than FM signals. And then shortwave radio, even shortwave signals travel even further. But there's a loss in clarity. The information you're able to transmit is less. Number one. Number two, because the waves are so condensed, they lack the ability to really penetrate. So if you have like a certain solid object, like a wall, for instance, will stop, depending on the thickness, will stop these waves from transmitting. So what they're gonna have to do is they got to amplify the signal, turn the wattage up. So now you have these super high energy waves. And so this is going to present a potential health hazard. Maybe Dr. Ford can chime in on this, but the health hazards of shortwave is essentially a microwave, you know, that's going to penetrate your body. And that high energy wave is going to oscillate and increase the temperature of, you know, anything that it passes through. Almost like a microwave.
Let me holler at that if I can, sir.
What was the AM1? Is that AM1 here?
Yeah. I want to pipe back in on y'all brothers real quick because I'm just working on some design. So this is real interesting because this is something I think about a lot. And I noticed, like, I had a router installed in my apartment some years back, and as soon as I got that installed, I got sick in a very interesting sort of way. It felt different, is what I mean by it. It's hard to quantify what that means, but upon researching and looking into that more, I saw that there was some information kind of correlating to people developing cancer and routers, Wi-Fi signals, because they're saying that these sort of microwave type RF frequencies that are coming off of these things are mimicking light waves to a certain degree, but light waves that essentially can basically penetrate through, that object to a certain degree, depending on, its density. But the idea that it's mimicking light waves to a certain degree is acting on your pineal gland to a certain level to where it's creating almost a certain type of sleep deprivation. And we know when your body's sleeping, there's a certain healing mechanism that's kicking in. So that's interesting. So to think if that is true, if there's any true correlation to that, then what that would already be doing, the detrimental effects to your immune system, quote unquote, or your body's ability to fight off into certain things, or you just to heal yourself and naturally recover yourself. Obviously, we're being bombarded with all manner of toxins from fluoride. If you study the whole fluoridation thing, that GMO foods, what they're putting in the air, there's the chemtrails, the talk of the chemtrails, like hitting this like full spectrum, bombarding our bodies with so many different toxins, the heavy metals, the aluminums, the dyes, the color, food, everything. But tying that all together with this whole 5G thing, if they are kicking up these frequencies on another level, you could just imagine the effect that that's having on your body at a cellular level, and the fact that that's just one more level of damage that your body's being bombarded with, that you're going to be having to, recruit more resources from your body to heal that shit, amongst other things, amongst the psychological warfare that's being waged against us every day. It's crazy, man. That's part of the reason why I talk about brothers really trying to focus in and try to unplug from mainstream media and really take inventory of the people you associate yourself with. Like, it's bad enough, you know what I mean? Not to be all doom and gloom, but goddamn,
it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. Yeah, it's gonna get worse.
I just want to jump in real quick, A1, because you made reference to, essentially, I guess it was like the waves off your router. You made reference to these waves mimicking light. This is where I have to correct you. It's not mimicking light. It is light. Energy. This is the reason why you're feeling the way you did, because it's not mimicking. It's just a different end of the spectrum. See, you have a light that's in the visible spectrum that you see, your reds, your blues, your indigos, all the colors that you see when you look at something. This is basically
radiation.
These are photons that are actually bombarding your optic nerve, that has been refracted by your cornea and focused by your retina, and so these actually bombard your optic nerve, and your optic nerve perceives it as imagery. So you can get this is the way you're able to interact with your environment but based on your feedback. But there's also all kinds of what you would consider light that's surrounding us all. But a lot of it is outside of the visible spectrum. The spectrum is very, very narrow.
Yeah, it is.
Like we see. But you got gamma rays at the far end, and at the very other end, you got radio waves. So these are all waves. And a lot of times waves really don't affect us so much. A lot of the gamma rays really don't penetrate past the atmosphere. So you really don't have to deal with that. Like a lot of the radio waves, they're very low energy by the time they reach you. But what's going to happen with the 5G, they're going to have these towers and these actual transmitting whatever beacons a lot closer proximity to people. And because the rays are not going to penetrate, so they got to have. So now you're going to have it like a lot of times you only see like the top of some building, but you're going to have them in like pretty much like every so often, like maybe a couple of every block.
Yeah.
And so now people are going to be in close contact with these actual. I'll give you an example. My grandfather used to work on telephone lines. And he dealt with these transformers, and when electricity, when electricity makes a current, there's frequencies that are emitted.
Yeah, it's a field. Yeah,
it's electromagnetic
field. Yeah.
My grandfather died of brain cancer. That's what he died of, because that was his job. He worked on those lines his whole life. They don't have the safety measures that they have now that they had back then. But I even know people who work, like I know a guy who does networks, and he works on the at the time the 3G network. He was working on the towers and stuff like that, and he had to quit the job. He started having headaches and started tasting stuff, and all kind of weird sensations that he never had before. He had to quit the job because there's definite health hazards associated with this.
Yeah.
Where Go ahead, BGS.
Your body is a series of magnetic fields. Your cells are a series of magnetic fields, and any other powerful magnetic field can disrupt it, can alter it.
In short,
It's true.
4G is already a threat to national security. 5G is a whole different field where you can broadcast an entire signal over an entire populace, and you can really cause some serious neurological damage and even turn off bodily functions over a wide spectrum of people over any area. That's how come they're coming through.
But the thing is that for in fact, Mike talks about this all the time because he's been working on 5G and the software that comes behind it, right, for like the last 5 years. For your automated system like drones, self-driving cars, all this kind of crap to actually work with the Internet of Things, you got to have 5G. If you don't, it won't work. So basically, they're going to push this stuff out because they have to, because everybody else is. You're going to fall behind if you don't.
Well, this goes back to what I said at the very commencement of this stream. When we talk about domination, right? In order to elude domination, you have to be willing to forego technology and the associated creature comforts that you enjoy on a daily basis. Now, if you want to live off the grid, go move to North Sentinel Island or some type of uninhabited island, somewhere in the globe. Maybe move to Antarctica, maybe move to North Greenland. I mean, there are options available to you for those individuals that feel we are being dominated. Don't associate yourself with a dominated people. Go live on your own. But you're going to give up a lot of stuff to do that.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you want to move out in the middle of nowhere, nobody's going to follow you.
This is what I say. I say we use. We don't want to be dominated anymore. If you want to use their talking points, what we want to do is become the dominators. So we talking about building a new type of thing going on.
Well, you're gonna have. Yeah, you're gonna have to basically. How do you rise within the organization? You got to be part of what? The organization.
I agree. There's multiple ways to do it, and that's one of the ways we will have to use. And I don't have a problem with that. Like, I don't have a problem with technology as long as it serves man and not man serves the tech.
Yeah. That's gonna be basically they're that's like I'm always tell you guys to actually watch the World Economic Forum, because you get so many different voices coming from so many different places. It's somewhere along the line, somebody's going to tell the truth. It's going to flip out, like what they call the lethal automated technology. That they're probably going to be worse than what they call nuclear technology. That's on the board. That hasn't been talked about. It hasn't been talked about in the last 4 or 5 years. This is something that's going to be on the board. They've been worried about for the last 2 or 3 years. And that hasn't been talked about, but they let the cat out of the bag because you're listening.
So, BGS, I tend to believe that only a small percentage of people are awoke, alive, and connected to reality, and a good majority of population is asleep, deaf, blind, and dumb. I don't have a thought that we're going to be able to save, or we're going to be able to carry every black man, woman, and child into a new era of this type of thinking, because some people want bread and circuses. They want to be put to sleep like the Matrix. Some people don't want to come out of that dream world. And that's just the way I look at it, because there's only a small percentage of us who are awake to this knowledge and will even listen to it and even try to understand what it all means.
Well, okay, it was actually a private stream where people asked me the exact same thing about why I do what I do. Okay, even though I know when I first say something, maybe 5% of the people are actually going to agree with me. So my thing is to do it far enough in advance, so by the time it gets here. Because basically, if you have a problem, a serious problem, the first thing you have to figure out, what can I do? Because first thing you have to do is figure out what the problem is, right? Something happens to you. Okay, what's causing this? What is the problem? And how do I solve it? So basically, you go 2 or 3 years trying to figure out what the problem is, and then you get to figure out how do I solve it, right?
Right.
If I've already warned you what the problem is going to be, by the time it hits, guess what you already know? You know what the problem is. You probably already know where it comes from. So you don't have to worry about what the problem is and where it's coming from. All you have to do is worry about how to solve it.
How to solve the problem. Because I believe as a man, part of our journey living is that we're here to also solve problems. We are problem solving, that, you know, but the problem is so many people, let me just say in general, it appears like so many people are brain dead because let's think about it. I got rid of my cable television package some time ago. So I don't really, hell, I didn't even know who was going to be in the Super Bowl this upcoming Sunday, right? And I spent a lot of my time between work, family, and in YouTube. And I thought that I was really going to be like, man, having a, withdrawal here, right? And guess what? I have not once thought about it, have been concerned about what's going on TV or anything, because I'm too busy trying to focus on things that give me knowledge. So, but that's exactly where they want us to be. They want us to be lulled to sleep with the entertainment, so that it'll be easier to bring anything down the pipeline on us and keep people asleep.
Well, basically, what I found, because I've been doing this for a long time, right? Most people, even if you tell them, are going to be what? Scared.
That's the first thing. Fear is your biggest.
And after they're scared, they don't want to believe it, because even if you let them know, we show them the data, show them everything, we show them right down the list or what's going to come or why it's already here. They're not going to believe it because they're built into a paradigm. Okay, it took me a very long time to get out of the paradigm. Say what, Super Tris?
You know what else they're scared of?
What's that?
They're scared of the accountability that comes along with knowledge.
Yep. Bingo. They don't want to have to act on something, put the mirror in their face. So it's the fear, it's the lack of accountability, the fact that you're going to actually have to do something, the fact that this world is predatory. Ultimately, it is like a survival of the fittest. There's people out here that kill you in a heartbeat, or worse, people that'll pin you down and just leech off you. Whole governmental systems, whole structures set up that way, whole society set up that way, and people just being placated and pacified and just being okay with that because they don't want to have to face the idea of, wow, what will it take for me to be, or at least attempt to be, the master of my own destiny and truly try to level up on like a higher order, spiritual type level, if we are spiritual beings having a human experience. I don't know, maybe that's too deep, but I really think in those terms. What are we really doing for it?
All the spirituality will do, because I've been on that path, is to have you accept reality as it is. That's all it's there for.
And one, I always say, brother, you have to be the master of your fate and captain of your soul. You're in charge of where you want to go. It starts with your mind first, if you can, but everything starts with your mind first, right? It has to be, you have to have a mindset, because everything we're looking at in this third dimensional world that we live in came out of a mind first to make it reality. So that's where I go with that. Everything starts with that mind.
Yeah. Basically, I always quote the serenity prayer. Accept it, change the things you can and accept the things that you can't.
Bingo. But see, then right there, as soon as you do that and apply that to the average person who is being placated to death or to life or to suffering indefinitely, the accountability thing, that's a lot of what this is boiling down to. Certain things I've said here on YouTube that have got people all in their feelings. And I'm just like, hey, well, if you want to talk about Black plight, us being oppressed, us being dominated, well, maybe we need to put mirrors in our own faces as individuals first, because when we wake up in the morning, we're looking out of these eyes, we're experiencing this body first and foremost. So we need to at least try to master our own actions and how we interact with the world. But no. Nobody wants to do that, because that's the self-accountability that people ain't trying to fuck with. People want to know that it's my partner. I got to deal with my wife or my girl in our conflict first. I'm like, wait, but you do realize you're a part of that relationship. So it's all going to always cycle back to you as the individual first. A lot of people don't want to accept that, though. Like, it's mind boggling to me. But I'm like, you keep having the same situation pop off over and over. It's the same individual plight. It's the same collective plight. Yet you refuse to look at the bottom line, lowest common denominator it's fucking you. Why don't you want to sort out your own actions first?
Because the old tapes that are playing over your head has been passed down from generation to generation, keep playing, and you don't know what tapes are playing. And that's the whole thing about it. You got to find out what tapes are playing and how to shut off those tapes.
Exactly. And if they don't want to change, fuck them. Leave them.
Well, like my past two recorded videos are nothing but telling you about women, about why they do what they do. Those are recorded tapes that have been passed down from mother to daughter that they can't shut off. Okay. And they do from the. And I heard it from highly educated people with PhDs all the way down to the ratchets. Okay, it's the same plight. Doesn't matter, because I wish it was just the lower class folks. I really wish it was. Unfortunately, it's not.
Facts.
Well, on that note, I want to thank everybody for joining in. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the panel one by one. And we're going to start with M.O.T. and go to Tony Garrison. Then we're going to go to Information Man, AM1, then finally you, BGS.
Okay.
And we want to just give our last words, our last final thoughts. And also, if you have any channels or any type of social media that you'd like to promote, now's the time to do so. And I want everybody in the chat to kind of pay attention, because a lot of these guys up here have channels. And, again, you see what great information is being disseminated here. And make sure you catch them live when they go live as well, because I know I'm certainly subscribed to everybody on this channel, on this panel. And I do make sure that I'm in attendance to their streams as well. So let's start out with you, Mr. M.O.T., Man of Tomorrow.
All right. What we have to do as Black men, we have to reemerge as a political force in this country. I'm going to be going over some of the things that I've been doing personally within my life to gain a hold in the groundwork over my life, so that way we can expand and kind of form our own coalition out here. Because if you don't pay in this marketplace, if you don't pay for your actual results in politics, you won't get them. And we just need to cut a lot of this nonsense down, so that way we can be able to politically organize like we're supposed to, rather than just taking stuff on the back end. Just subscribe to my channel, Man Tomorrow. Thanks so much for having me, Secretaries, man. And shout out to everybody on the panel. And I want to publicly apologize to Information Man for the way that I was addressing him on O'Shea show last Sunday. And that's all I got. You have a nice day. Thanks.
Thank you so much for your presence. And, again, that apology resonates, because I think as men, we have to maintain a semblance of respect. And oftentimes we're passionate about our words, and that's perfectly fine. But, after tensions ease, it's good to, extend that olive branch and say, hey, you know what? I said what I said and I stand by it, but maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. And I think that's very important for us as a collective to move forward. Thank you so much, Man of Tomorrow. Again, if you guys haven't subscribed to Man of Tomorrow channel, Neon Eyes, if you may, or one of the moderators in the chat, can you please link to his channel? And I will be posting their channels in the information section, description section of this video, for those of you who catch this on the rebroadcast. So if you guys are listening to this on the rebroadcast, make sure you check the description, so that way you can see exactly who was on the panel and you can access their information as far as social media and YouTube channels. Mr. Tony Garrison, the young prodigy.
Excuse me. I'll say this. Definitely, we do need to take into account everybody has their own positions and feelings and thoughts. But I will say this, because I'm not going to lie to my people. Some niggas don't deserve to talk. Anyway, people like that, So, cats that don't make any sense and don't have any skin in the game. Come on now. Don't listen to them. Keep focused. Like, there was a sister in the chat, and she was kind of getting upset about the generalizations, quote unquote, of Black women. Don't listen to the dudes that do that. Just stay away from them. Don't even listen to them. If they come to you, just keep it moving. It's really that simple. Like, this 2019 and 2020 and whatever, those are the years of change. We need to get our shit together. And those who will get it together, will get it together. Those who will not, will not. And they will die and suffer. That's on them. But we can't help them. Don't reach back if you don't have to. If it's beneficial to you, then do it. But if it's not, don't do it. It's very simple. And we have to plan because we're really behind. Like, you guys don't know how behind we are. I'm talking to the people who are watching. Like, they really, some of them might, but they really don't know how behind we are. Like, we're fucking in the Stone Age. It's ridiculous. So we got to get our shit up. That's pretty much it. Thanks for everybody, you know, on the panel, and thanks for having me, Super Triz. And on top of that, I do not have a channel. Do not link my channel because I'm not putting up YouTube videos. But I will be. Yeah, I'm doing real shit, man. I got these songs coming out. I'm doing recording people. A lot of these young kids where I live, man, they coming through, getting money.
I need some beats, man.
I'm gonna hook you up, bro. I'm gonna hook you up.
All right.
But yeah, I'm gonna definitely show y'all like some of my projects and SoundCloud and things of that nature. But I will be putting out a podcast.
All right.
For now on SoundCloud about some of these issues I talk about. I'm gonna send it to you guys so you can link it later.
All right.
Definitely. We definitely look forward to hearing about your podcast and any developments as far as the music that you're creating on your end. Really appreciate having you here, Tony Garrison. Always a pleasure. I do want to go over to Mr. Information Man from the Information Man Show. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Any final words and any promotional advertisement you'd like to put out?
Well, basically, I'd like to say thank you, brother, for having me on when you saw me in the chat. I really appreciate being on with these brothers, esteemed brothers that we have on here. It feels great to be able to talk to Black men who are knowledgeable. We can have intellectual conversation. We're not on here yelling and screaming at each other. I hold no ill will against Brother Man of Tomorrow. I know that we were on O'Shea's channel and we were talking about very sensitive issues, and sometimes you have a difference of opinion. But since that time, I was totally oblivious. I wasn't tripping. I love the brother. I love what he's about. You know, he speaks his mind, and I have to respect any Black man that speaks his mind, his experiences. And I think that's what we need more of. I think we need more brothers to get on here like think tanks, try to work through issues, take it back to our individual communities. I think we just need more of this. And this is the difference between us and the ladies. I'm going to keep it 100% real. Men can have arguments. We can have discourse where we have difference of opinion. We may yell or whatever at each other. But at the end of the day, as men, as we are, we can always come back together, squash the bullshit, think about things on a more logical level, not emotional level, and say, brothers, let's work together and build. That's what men do. And that's how we have to keep rolling. So I am the Information Man. I have a channel, Information Man Show. Show me some love if you want to support the channel. I do a little bit of everything on the channel. You know, I talk about issues. I do live streaming. I talk about what's happening in the news. I talk about science, whatever it is. I'm gonna touch into it as best I can. And I just want to thank everybody out there who has supported the channel, brothers that have come over to the channel just to check out what I'm doing or been on the panels themselves. I really appreciate that, and I just want to keep pushing the edge and learning. I believe, I know everybody calls BGS the master teacher, but I believe that we're always still learning. No matter how old you are, you're always still in the process of learning and growing and developing. So with that said, I want to thank everybody. Thank you, brother, for having me on. Peace to everybody.
Peace. Thank you. Let me just add this real quick, Super Triz. I want to say something to the brothers. Brothers, stop going over to these females' channels, man. If you're going to do it once in a blue moon. Don't be going over there and getting worked up, man. It's a bunch of nonsense going on over there. Just stay over here and do your thing. That's all I got to say. Amen to that.
Yeah. Yes. That's a very good point. If you want to go to some females channels, we have Miss Nicole Ali. We have Neon Eyes. We have some individuals, some females in our chat, women of substance. Dr. Ford, I don't think she has a channel, but Bismillah Rabbani, I don't believe she has a channel either. But there are some women that are in the chat, and if you're looking for some channel, ask them, you know, what are some good female channels to go to? I'm sure they can point you in the right direction if they don't have a channel of their own. Because a lot of times, you know, that real toxic energy that you absorb when you go to some of these other channels, it you know, you kind of get it permeates through your pores. And everywhere you go, you have that negative energy with you. So I would say just, be careful about what you take in, and for those of you guys that are watching this this chat, watching this stream actually that are in the chat, and for those of you catching the rebroadcast, make sure you hit the like button. The like button definitely helps with the YouTube algorithm, and
likes are free.
Likes are free. Likes are free. Like the channel, and if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. And for the panel members that have appeared today for this stream, when you guys hit the subscribe button on their channels, make sure you hit that notification bell.
Yeah, yeah, I have that problem. Like
that notification bell is very important, because a lot of times, they'll be live, you won't even know they're live. Like there's people that's live. A lot of times I have to actually go scroll through my subscriptions to see who's live, because it doesn't pop up on my feed. I don't know why it doesn't do that, but those people that I put the notification bell, it just pops right up. It gets an alert to my phone. And also, for those of us that use the community tab, that community tab also lets people know maybe we have this information we want to disseminate, perhaps about a future stream, or if we're appearing on somebody else's platform, you'll know that because you have that notification bell hit too. So just make sure you guys do that. And I want to go over to AM1. AM1, do you have any final words, and would you like to promote anything in particular?
Man, go check out my channel, AM1. Type that in, it should pop up. I think the URL is all soul 1 at the end. Man, just, still kind of newish here in the YouTube manosphere sort of thing. Been peeping it for years. And I always like to just preface it that way, just to show the respect I have for the great brothers I've been able to link up with. Definitely came here to link up and network with like-minded brothers on some real activation/activism, exactly the way I get it in Oakland, California. Putting it in the kind of work that I do has me literally traveling around the world, about to do a lot more traveling this year. Really get out here and get this in. So for the young brothers that tap in with me and with gentlemen of varying generations here, like we have on this esteemed panel right now, this is where it's at right now. Infoman said he dished his cable. I did the cord cutter sort of thing myself. This is where it's at right here. The thinking black man, a think tank level type of energy. This is it. This can plant seeds for a lot of change as we take this off of just YouTube and really apply these things out in the day-to-day world and network with each other, even in our respective states and regions and whatnot. Like, this is big, and it's always a huge honor for me to come on and chop up with brothers like this. Real dope, man. I super appreciate you guys. Big shouts out to Super Triz. Also, just one other plug I want to give too, and it's not for myself, just for B.M.T. He dropped a video recently on the Brothers Amongst Men channel. That I was dropping it. Actually, if I can, Super Triz, I'll spam it in the chat again. Definitely got to check out that video from B.M.T. It's huge. It's one of the most powerful videos I've ever seen on YouTube, especially within the realms of Black YouTube. He's talking about serious numbers and showing stats as far as how Black folks, we get on here and talk about Black folks moving, the Black plight versus progress. I phrase it that way. And he's dropping some serious numbers, serious bombs on what we really need to be looking at. I'll leave it at that. Peace, brothers.
Thank you so much, Mr. AM1. Always a pleasure having you. You're always welcome. Finally, I'm going to go to the master teacher himself, Mr. BGS IBMOR.
Okay. I'm just going to make just a quote from Claude Anderson's book, Black History Reader. The question 8 says, can Blacks be a competitive group without group self-interest? He says it will be very difficult for Black Americans to become a competitive group if they cannot shake the unique social conditioning imposed on them during 5 centuries of slavery and Jim Crow semi-slavery. Skipping down, Blacks appear to be different. The 21st generation of Black Americans remains bound by lessons learned in slavery that strip them of group self-interest. So in other words, our unique experience, the lessons that have been passed culturally down from 5 centuries ago, has us by our short hairs. And if we can't shake that, we're going to have issues. We have to be able to shake. They have to know what it is. We got to shake this stuff. And that's why I came on YouTube. It wasn't to You know, talk about business. We talked about that. Starting business. We talked about that. What do you do with your money? We've talked about that for 30 years. Why are Black people not moving? And he just said it. Me and Dr. Anderson talked about that for years. That is the reason. It has you by your short hairs. That's why I'm here. Expand your worldview. Find out what's wrong with you. Strip that old social conditioning, those old tapes. Stop them from playing in your head so that you can move forward. Can you guys hear me?
Oh man, I'm just
Well said. Amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate that. I mean, that's definitely the soundbite of the month right there. Very powerful words from Mr. BGS M.O.R, the master teacher. I want to personally thank you for stopping by. I know you're busy and you've been putting out some information on your channel and some streams. For those of you who haven't subscribed to BGS, I'm sure you all have. But just in case, check out his page because he has some new content up that he put out.
Yeah, in fact, I got to do
video.
Working on some content right now. One for Ron Wills talking about the Saturn cycle and the cycle of creation, and also supposed to be working on stuff for Dr. T.S. Johnson about about how the red pill came about and how feminism and why feminism actually came about. So I'm working on those two things right now.
Oh, and I'm definitely going to look forward to checking that out, as should everyone else that's in the live chat now and catching this on the rebroadcast. Look forward to BGS. Matter of fact, just make sure you subscribe to his channel and hit that notification bell. That's all I can tell you, because if not and you miss it out, don't say you haven't been warned, because we're going to have that knowledge. I know I'm going to have that knowledge, and Tony Garrison, we're going to have that knowledge that he puts out on his channel, but you're not, because you didn't subscribe and you didn't hit that notification bell.
Oh yeah, did you see the piece up the World Economic Forum actually put out about the future of medicine, about the future of hospitals?
Yeah, I saw you. That was a couple of days ago. What was that? Couple of days ago you posted that?
Yeah, about almost a week ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Days ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That, I mean, it just like this is not nonsense that's being put out. It's not like, this is like real information that we need, because the world around us is changing. So you need to know what these changes are, so that way you can devise the best method for you to address them, because you can't avoid it. Like I said, you can go move to North Sentinel Island if they'll let you on the damn island.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? So other than that, or you can go deep in the Amazon jungle and be fighting jaguars and all kind of reticulated pythons and anacondas, everything else.
Yeah.
But so the choice is really yours, because you can't stick your head in the sand like an ostrich and expect the trouble to pass you by. You got to deal with it. And the only way you're going to deal with it is if you're armed with information.
Yeah, it is what it is.
And in closing, I just want to say one more time, thank you again for everybody that was so generous. AM1, who's on the panel right now, slipped in, damn near broke PayPal.
Shout out to AM1.
Shout out.
Donations, thinking he slipped like I wouldn't notice. I saw you.
Hey, in the DR, apparently they blocked the super chats. I was like, no, look here, motherfuckers. I'm making this goddamn dropping my brother this dough right here. So I was like, let me go do it on PayPal. I was like, you know what? Matter of fact, made the payment that way, so they didn't gouge them anyway. Taking 30% cut. That way. But I definitely am about supporting, owning, and controlling Black-owned media, and I'm ready to put I'll put my money where my mouth is.
The gig economy is real. I was just talking about that on another broadcast I did earlier this morning. The gig economy is real. In fact, that is going to be your future going forward. So what you guys are doing is the future. You're just ahead of the game, because they will force you to, because this big thing about governments guaranteeing jobs and corporations guaranteeing jobs, that is probably over. You're going to have to make your job.
Yep.
And for those people that already put their work in, don't think that your pensions are safe either.
It is. That is another story altogether, and that it is what it is.
And also, I want to thank Wayne Lester. Wayne Lester, I think he's already logged off, because it is getting late, especially for those of you on the East Coast. But Wayne Lester, he's trying to break PayPal too. He sent me a little something, and I really appreciate that from Wayne Lester. Dr. Ford with the big donation, trying to break super chat, you know, trying to get YouTube, sending them alphabet boys, IRS gonna kick down my door talking about what I did with all the money that Dr. Ford, Neon Eyes, Gab Talk Media, Moses Jenkins, Aaron Knights, Frog Box. I got a lot of explaining to do to the IRS because y'all done hit it hard with the super chat donation. I really appreciate that. But
what a problem to have, huh?
Yeah, what a problem to have. But again, thank you guys so much for just bearing with me on this stream. I know it was long-winded, and but it was a lot of good information that was put out by the panel members, and I want to personally thank the panel members again for your presence again. You guys know that you guys are always welcome on the panel. I really appreciate the backup and support. I couldn't have done it without you. But on that note, until next time, I'm out.
All right. Peace.
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 Peace, brothers.